He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer and the champion of liberty, of human equality.
Hello, good morning, and welcome to another very interesting and exciting edition of the Mother of All Talk Shows, Alhaji and Alhaji, live on Pan-African TV. We are also live on Facebook, on Pan-African Television, and also on Radio Gold 905 FM. More importantly, if you're within the Accra metropolis, we are live on Ahunto 92.3 FM and several affiliate radio stations across the country. Thanks for making time to join us today, and we are glad to have your company. Now, this morning, like I've been doing for the past few weeks, let me just give you an idea of where we are when it comes to the issue of the coronavirus. Now, let me start from home, because the graphic this morning, graphic.com.gh, is reporting about a case that was suspected and issues were raised about yesterday. Now, the headline is Coronavirus Scare in Ghana. Noguchi says it's negative. And he says the latest suspected coronavirus case at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital on Thursday has turned out to be negative. The Director of Public Health at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Abedusa Akodia, confirmed this to Graphic Online Friday afternoon. He told Graphic Online's Dorinando that the latest test from the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research has turned out to be negative. This brings to 46 the total number of suspected cases in Ghana that have all tested negative. Now, aside that, we are also hearing some cases very close to home. Let me also read from the same Graphic Online, and this time the headline is Coronavirus. Cameroon and Togo, latest African countries reporting cases. Cameroon and Togo, latest African countries reporting cases. And it says Cameroon and Togo have become the latest African countries to confirm a case of coronavirus COVID-19. In Cameroon, the patient has been identified as a 58-year-old French citizen who arrived in Yaoundé on February 24, 2020, according to a report filed by the BBC's correspondent in Yaoundé, Kilian Ngala. This is coming after Nigeria, Senegal, Egypt, and Algeria confirmed the disease in Africa. In the case of Togo, the government announced that the country registered its first case of coronavirus on Friday, March 6, 2020. The patient is said to be a 42-year-old female resident of the capital, Lomé, who had visited Benin, Germany, France, and Turkey in late February and early March. She is being treated in isolation and her condition is stable, the government said in a statement. So those are the issues so we haven't recorded a case. The latest one, which people were afraid of at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, has been confirmed, has been tested, and the result is negative, according to the Noguchi Memorial Institute. But Togo has recorded one case, a female. The other place that we are also concerned about is Cameroon. They have also recorded a case, also a 42-year-old female. So two cases that are getting very, very uncomfortably close to home. Too close for comfort. The question is, are we prepared? And that was one of the issues that the president addressed in his State of the Nation's address. But was that adequate? Are we taking the measures that are necessary? Don't forget that WHO has already raised some issues about our preparedness and how much we are spending so far. My name is Sena, Nombo, and that is how I welcome you to the Mother of All Talk Shows, Alhaji and Alhaji this morning. It's a pleasure to always come your way. A big thank you to the crew here at Pan-African Television and 92.3 FM, and of course our several affiliates across the country. If you're listening to us through any of your affiliates, or you're watching us on Pan-African Television, it's a pleasure to come your way once again this morning. We'll take a short break. When we come back, I will introduce my topic and my panel. Stay tuned.
Africa's great song, Sergeant for Dr. Kroma.
Hey, Bukuya. The thing on all the pressure to me to start. What's on come from? You said the people when I am not so young. They said when you are Joe, what to how soon? My nose and cover to me, Kaba. Ah, ma. We are the men withdrew and to the mamma to crab rose and brano. And I may be saying, Finn, Yago, because I'm mammy in my ship. Go fitcha. Why, yes, and I am a young. And as a woman who bow one, who can.
Honey, I'm home. I have a surprise.
You know when yeah, check. I'm so feel so no.
Hey, I was saying, the outing we need. Minipia, obey my way in a to a trap. When a mammy did the woman what Mr. Q.
She say me a beman kasankasa.
Nichinamina's one casa. Ankasa.
What is it?
Aye, we backward and then it's strong enough.
I could say,
or backward and one which
Mr. Wasimini, I read you what boy man.
Hey, I can't yard near more.
At Fonko Kulun Ghana Limited, our East Legon, a Champion Junction, for 0244 139 176.
Mr. Q, we are Q back.
Well, thank you for staying tuned, and once again, welcome to the mother of all talk shows, Alhaji and Alhaji, live on Pan-African television. My name is Sena, Nombo, and do not forget that you should be an active part of this show. Share your views and thoughts with us. We have a mobile, I was going to say mobile money. We have a mobile number that you can send your WhatsApp and text messages to, and also, you can also do that through our Facebook platform. If you're watching us through Facebook, all you have to do is use the comment section and comment on any of the topics we are raising, and then I'll read it out as we go along in the show. Thank you very much for joining us today. Yeah, we say it as it is, no matter who is involved, and then we'll leave you better educated. Joining me this morning for the discussions is Mr. Kwesi Prajna, who's managing editor of the Inside newspaper. We are joined by Alhaji ABA Fuseni, who is member of parliament for Sanyarugu, and then we have Saka Salia, who is a member of the New Patriotic Party's communications team. And that's my panel for this morning. This morning, we are talking about independence, because yesterday was Independence Day. Yesterday was 6th March. Today is 7th March. So yesterday was 6th March, and we put out quite a glamorous occasion in Kumasi yesterday to mark the day. The president has been speaking, key issues, some of the things he's been saying. The key issue he addressed was the issue of our progress and also the issue of coronavirus and our preparation for it, whether we can deal with the case if we have any. And so that will be our topic for discussion, our very first topic for discussion. There are also questions about how come increasingly it looks like in the speech of the president, Nkrumah is losing that pride of place he has always had in our independence history, the history of how we attained independence. Now, Nkrumah is classified among several other people who the president said made the same contribution, or maybe were equals in the fight for independence. So that will be our very first topic for discussion. And then we'll go back to the Electoral Commission, because this week, the Inter-Party Resistance Against the New Voters Register held a press conference. The assertion and the evidence they were provided this time around is that they have written to the current vendors of our biometric voter management system, and they deny all the issues that has been attributed to them. The EC has been saying that they are the ones who are telling them that the equipment they have currently are at end of life. The system is overstretched. In the words of Dr. Bosman, the system will crash. The vendors are saying, no, that is not the truth. We've not said anything of sort. But there's also another group. The EC hasn't spoken, but there's another group which is insisting that the EC was right, and the vendors actually did tell the EC what the EC has been saying. The question is the EC lying its way to a new voters register? Well, we'll be addressing that issue too. And then we'll take you to Parliament on two issues. The first one has to do with the decision, with the law that was passed, the law essentially banning cars that are above 10 years, importation of cars that are above 10 years, and also the dealership of those cars. We'll spend some time on that. And then the other issue has been the controversial tax waiver, $23.98 million that has been granted for a luxury hotel at airport residential area. Already, money from the Ghana Infrastructure Fund has also been invested into that project. The allegation is that we are doing all that for the group that's putting up that project, because the person involved at the helm of it is the president's in-law. That's also an issue that we'll be looking at. So Parliament is under focus in our very third topic. Thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure. Contribute to the issues we'll be discussing today, and we will share your views with the rest of the world. Well, let's start the discussion off with the issue of independence. And this morning, I'll start with the man to my immediate left, Alhaji ABA Fuseni. Good morning, Honorable.
Yeah, good morning, Sena. Let me say a good morning to all the viewers of Pan-Africa TV across the world, to your good self.
Thank you.
Good Comrade Prajina and my brother Sani, your technicians. And of course, to the good people of the Sanargo constituency. Sena, I first and foremost would want to express my gratitude to Almighty Allah for his boundless mercies for this country. It goes without saying that, but for the mercy and boundless magnanimity of Allah Almighty, this country would not even have survived to reach where it is, especially the good people of this country having to go through this current regime that we are living under. We continue to pray to Allah to have mercy on this country and to ensure that with his boundless vision of what he knows, and I've always held to that belief that in the ranks of human beings, no matter how tall you are, you can't see tomorrow. It is only Allah Almighty who sees tomorrow and beyond. And so, with his boundless vision, Allah should let his magnanimity and his mercy reflect on us this coming election, so that not only do we have a peaceful, fair, transparent election, but that the cry for change that Ghanaians are yearning for will be realized in this particular election, so that the good people of this country will be liberated from the current shackles of oppression that we are going through. Let me say without any iota of this and that, the importance of our independence cannot be overemphasized. Apart from slavery, Sana, the other thing that has held Africa and the black person to the sidelines of global action has been colonialism. Indeed, colonialism is one of the blots on our conscience as a people. Colonialism has been one of the things that has infused a sense of inferiority in the African. And you see, that aspect has been lost on us. It's very, very, very important. Because even the good books, the Holy Quran and the Bible, all say that as a man thinketh, so is he. So the most important thing about the human being is your mind. Your mindset. If somebody can get you to think you are inferior, you can never match that person. Because you will always act inferior. So you cannot think inferior and act superior. So if somebody can get you to think that you are low, you see the white man is far, far, far ahead instead of thinking. So they are able to get you to think like that the black man's mind is constrained. Our horizons are narrow. Our brains are not developed. So if they can get us to think like that, and we actually accept that mediocre thinking and imbibe it, and it becomes part of us, we can't do anything. All the time, you'll be subjugated and you'll be left to looking at the white man as the basis for your solution. And so it is one of the colonial relics that we've had to deal with as a people. And so if you look at the struggle for independence, one of the teams, the legendary founder of this nation, Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, sought to infuse that the black man is nowhere inferior. And that the black man, given the opportunity, is capable of managing his affairs, just like the white man. And that we prefer self-government in danger to servitude in tranquility. So if you listen to the thoughts of Kwame Nkrumah and the many books that he has written, he always espoused that the black man, like the white man, is capable of achieving any other result given that opportunity. So that for me is the setting within which we have to look at our independence. Especially so as Ghana was the pace setter for independence on the African continent, especially Africa south of the Sahara. Ghana was the first country, first African, first black country south of the Sahara to attain independence, and then in that one give an example to the rest of Africa. So now nobody, and I've said this, and I will come to how the MPP and President Akufo-Addo, in the desperate attempt to rewrite the history of this country, have done this country a great disservice, including, you know what, that the whole world has recognized Alhaji Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, not only as the legendary founder of Ghana, but the founding father of the Organization of African Unity, OAU, which has transmogrified into the African Union, to which they had built a monument, only one monument. If you went to the AU headquarters, it was only Kwame Nkrumah's monument that was there. President Akufo-Addo has gone and made a suggestion. They went to make a suggestion to the AU that they should add the statue of Emperor Haile Selassie to dilute Kwame Nkrumah's significance. This is how far the MPP has gone to try to run down Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, to the extent that a Ghanaian had been made the African icon, standing alone at the AU, and he had to take a Ghanaian president to go and make that kind of suggestion. So it tells you, and it's part of the larger UP attempt to demonize Nkrumah, to run down the contributions and the global status of Kwame Nkrumah. I have said it, Sena, without any iota of hesitation. That Nkrumah is beyond Ghana. Nkrumah's stature as the legendary father of the nation is beyond Ghana. Nkrumah is beyond West Africa. Nkrumah is beyond Africa. Nkrumah is a global icon. It is not for nothing that when the BBC conducted universal surveys and they pitched every black man on the face of the earth, the Mandelas, the Marcus Garvey, they added every black man who has ever stepped on the surface of this earth. And the overwhelming, it wasn't just the overwhelming consensus was that Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah is the African of the millennium. Listen to the word. Listen to the accolade. Nkrumah is the African of the millennium. Not of the decade. Not of the century. A decade is 10 years. A century is 100 years. A millennium is 1,000 years. That in 1,000 years there will be no African like Kwame Nkrumah. And yet you can see some political mischief makers in this country trying to bring down a man of that stature. So I've always said it, that the seed that the Almighty Allah has planted, not even the most devastating drought can destroy it. From 1966, when they sought to destroy Kwame Nkrumah, they did everything, burnt his books, arrested people, persecuted people, killed people. They did everything. And today, Nkrumah's stature is even greater than they sought to do. It's sad that if you listen to our president at the independence anniversary, he reduced Kwame Nkrumah to a footnote. He started mentioning some other people. And not just that. Most of them, his party, are parachiks. UP, Buzia, Dankwa, MPP people. Dankwa, Obechebi Lamte, even FF Anto, all those other people were mentioned and equated to Kwame Nkrumah. Incredible. So now I've said that it is not Kwame Nkrumah alone who fought for independence. It cannot be. The fight for independence cannot be relegated to one man. That is true. Why has it ever happened? Why? Indians defy Gandhi. Okay? Was it Gandhi? And they see him as the father of India, the founder of India. Why? Was it Gandhi alone who fought for independence? Even long before the anti-British colonial rule in India. It started even before Gandhi was born. Okay? But they realized the important role Gandhi has played in that. The same thing as the Pakistan. Pakistanis revere Muhammad Ali Jinnah as the founder of Pakistan. But there were Pakistani patriots who fought for independence for Pakistan. Why? Nelson Mandela was in prison for 26 years. When he was in prison, did the anti-apartheid struggle stop? There were Governing Mbeki and others who were championing the struggle against apartheid. But when they talk about the decision against apartheid, Nelson Mandela steps up as the icon. But in Ghana, they cannot accept that Kwame Nkrumah, in spite of the contribution of others, Kwame Nkrumah was the icon in our anti-colonial struggle. Well, look at the double speak of the NPP. Currently, if you listen to their talk, they say President Nana Akufo-Addo is the one who brought peace to Dagbon. Sena, I'm sure you are aware of that. That is a great disservice, because among all those, President Kufuor, President Rawlings, President Kufuor, President Mills, yeah. President John Dramani Mahama, President Akufo-Addo, all of them contributed. But if I am going to rate those in terms of their contribution, President Akufo-Addo is the one who has contributed the least among the presidents. And so I was a deputy minister in the Northern Region, so I know a lot of the contributions that were made, especially by President Mahama, in reference to the roadmap, to the commitment of empowering the chiefs to participate, to the building of infrastructure for the elders who will perform funerals for the Yanas. Both Yana, Na Muhammad Abdullah and then Na Yakubu Andani. Okay? So I know that. And the contributions they have made from the time of President Mills through getting even to the criminal aspect of the issue involving the murder of the Yana. So if you look at those ones, you will see that contribution, and especially the contribution of the eminent chiefs led by Nana Otumfuo. In this particular matter, the Otumfuo has contributed substantially, and that man must be put on record. But when they are talking about it, they choose to relegate all these people to the sidelines and say it's Nana Akufo-Addo, and even give him some strange title. Okay? So if it is about their contribution, the person who contributes in their logic, who contributes the least, takes the credit. Sometimes they give all the credit to him. They even forget that other people have even worked. And so when it comes to their angle, they will prepare to say that he is the one who made the peace. But when it comes to Osajefu Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and the indefatigable role he has played, they choose to consign him as a footnote. Have you seen the double speak of these people? The hypocrisy and double standards. And so look at what the president did yesterday. Anybody who watched this thing would have been ashamed that this is how they can treat the founder of the nation. But it's not surprising, because even they came to parliament to change laws and consign Nkrumah and the achievements, especially under our Republican status, and consign our Republican status of 1960 to a mere commemorative day instead of a national day. So it should not surprise you. It's because they are struggling to rehabilitate their forebears who were political midgets. Compared to Kwame Nkrumah, they were political midgets. Dankwa could not compare himself to Nkrumah. Take even the elections, and I've said it many times before. Dankwa, who they were talking about, could not win one election, even in his own Achim area. He could not. Okay? Kwame Nkrumah, after the 1948 riots and the decision, was in prison. In fact, up to the 1951 elections when it was going to be conducted, Kwame Nkrumah was in prison. Okay? And he walloped Houghton Mills in Central Accra, who was the candidate of the UGCC. He walloped him. In fact, when the votes were, they hadn't even finished counting the votes. And they were out. Nkrumah, who was in prison. But they were out there campaigning, and they could not win. He was beaten by a people teacher in Echimabakwa. Okay? The same thing happened in 1954 in Fantiakwa. The same CPP walloped him and that time after 1951, the UGCC collapsed. And so they had the Ghana Congress Party. They again lost. Okay? So none of them in terms of even the competitive politics at that time could match Kwame Nkrumah. Now take the organization of the anti-colonial struggle. Nkrumah, when he came to meet the UGCC was an empty shell. Beyond Solpon and Accra, they had no offices. They were not in touch with the masses. It took Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah to go around the country to set up offices of the UGCC and mobilize the Gold Coast masses to prosecute the anti-colonial struggle. So, Sena, if you are going to talk of the galvanizing of the people for independence, and that is what brought the difference between the UGCC and the formation of the CCP in June 1949. Because the youth saw the dynamism in Kwame Nkrumah and saw the lethargic nature of the UGCC. These were armchair politicians, elites, who were concerned to drinking tea and beer and sitting in the comfort of their office. But Nkrumah was on the field working with the masses. So that was the difference that came up. And that's how come the people of the Gold Coast were in a hurry to go for independence. And that's how come the CPP had to adopt the slogan, self-government now. When the UGC slogan was self-government in the shortest possible time. So, Sena, in the shortest possible time, if we had followed the UGCs, perhaps we would still be under colonial rule. When Nkrumah's mantra was, we needed self-government now. And that's why we said that we needed self-government in danger to servitude in tranquility. And so you can see offhand the differences between Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and how he galvanized the good people of this country. And so this was a man who did so without recourse to acquisition of material wealth. In spite of all the allegations of corruption they had made against Kwame Nkrumah, nobody could cite one, even a house where they said this was a house Kwame Nkrumah bought. This was a bank account Kwame Nkrumah left. Today, people have been in power for just 3 years. Master, we are living in the same society with them. Go and see the type of houses they have bought in 3 years. Go and see the type of cars. Today, we are here, they are competing. Some are saying they competing for cars, Bugatti, Rolls Royce, what and what and what. In today's Ghana, with the depreciating level of poverty, excruciating poverty and hardship Ghanaians are going through, in 3 years, some people who have taken power today can boast of these opulent lifestyles. Okay? Kwame Nkrumah, with all his sacrifices and other things, never showed any sign of these traits. So, Sena, if you are going to match Kwame Nkrumah against these people, frankly speaking, the difference is like the earth and the sky. Yet they want to compare, in terms of the independence, their stature to Kwame Nkrumah. It's a misnomer, complete mismatch. And so, if you get a president who tells us that he's interested in reconciling this nation, and I've always said it, that the MPP, they are behaving with like, the paradox. Their mouth is full of water, and they are blowing to the candle fire. They are signaling right and turning left. Your speech says you want to reconcile the nation. Your actions are divisive. Even in the speech that you make, you cannot accord credit to the founder of the nation. Ab initio, it exposes you. And by their actions, look at the level of vindictiveness in this government. Even people they disagree with, they go and destroy their property. Look at what happened recently. Look at the collapse of the banks. Some banks were deliberately targeted for distraction. And when we come to the other topics, you will see how in destroying the indigenous banks, they have left Kedoforata's data bank and his enterprise insurance, and they have now become the instruments for government. You can no longer do any serious business now in terms of insurance with government if you don't go to enterprise insurance. Look, when we are doing bond, you have to, the insurance is undertaken by enterprise insurance. When they are doing this, data bank is involved in the roadshow for the bonds that we issue. Okay, even in the registration of ambulances, this is an ambulances, enterprise insurance. Can you see this blatant act of conflict of interest by the financial whiskey of the president? You see, and this is why I'm saying that compare all this with the government of Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Sena, I have heard many things that Nkrumah had run down the country's reserves and others at independence. And they cite among others that, we are giving a 10 million pound loan to Guinea. Sena, I have said it that the basis for anything is the mind. If your mind is inferior, you cannot think superior. Kwame Nkrumah's mind was far ahead of a lot of his compatriots, because they even failed to realize that Ghana standing as an island in the sea of colonies was not a viable entity. And that's why Kwame Nkrumah encapsulated the situation by saying that the independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it was linked up with the total liberation of the African continent. Can you see vision? That not until the entire African continent was liberated of the colonial yoke, that Africans can harness their resources, unite, like the United States of America. America had a number of 13 colonies. They were separate. When they were separate colonies, America was not effective. Until they united in 1787 under the American Constitution. And then America's strength started coming to the fore. And today the US is the most powerful nation in the world. Unity. That is how a United States of Africa can achieve it. And that was a project of Osagyefo for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. So in giving Guinea a 10 million loan, it was to show the example, because the French had threatened every French colony that if they voted for independence, it was a referendum the French organized, yes and no. If you vote no, it means one independence from France. If you vote yes, it means you have to continue. So in the referendum that came, Ghana encouraged Guinea and other French nations to vote no. It was only Guinea. When Guinea voted no in the referendum of 1958, the French stripped the country to the last. Even if there was a pin left in Guinea, the French, they took it away. So there was nothing in Guinea left. Guinea was stripped to its nakedness. And so that was to serve as a punishment. And so if nothing was forthcoming, other African countries looking at Guinea's example would be afraid. So Kwame Nkrumah helped a fellow sister African country to inspire in them that the African is capable of managing its affairs. They should go for independence. And as soon as Guinea was re-equipped, the rest of French Africa, they followed suit. Côte d'Ivoire, Togo, all the other African countries, they followed suit. And by 1960, all of them joined the ranks of independent African nations. That was Kwame Nkrumah's vision. And that is how the nations of Africa started getting their independence. He also made Ghana the base where African liberation fighters were here. Talk of the Mugabes, all of them, Mandelas, they were all here in Ghana. A tribute to Kwame Nkrumah's greatness and vision. That is why Kwame Nkrumah is a household word across the African continent and the entire black race. So that the desperate efforts this government is making to denigrate Kwame Nkrumah and really down to the point that we're even at an independence speech, the president could not even accord decency and recognize Kwame Nkrumah's pioneering role and sought to subsume him as a footnote. It's shameful. And I want to say without any iota of that, that such double standards does not inure to us as a people who must work together for the greatness of our nation.
Okay, please wrap up.
Let me say that part of the issues that came, we're told, was we have made substantial progress as a nation over the years. I can say that, look, go back to the First Republic. When Kwame Nkrumah said, and I in total believe in Kwame Nkrumah saying, and I've always said that if you have a man who has his mouth in another man's kitchen, cannot assert his independence and freedom. Nkrumah realized that and said, the only way for us as Ghanaians and as Africans is to ensure that we control first and foremost our resources. Because like Kwame Nkrumah pointed out, Africa is the richest continent, but Africans are the poorest. Sena, can you reconcile that paradox? You are the richest continent, but your people are the poorest. What does it tell you? It tells you that you don't control your resources. Or you have leaders who are not imbued with the requisite vision to carry their nations forward. So look at the programs of acceleration of economic development and asserting our independence Nkrumah put forward by building of factories that will ensure that what we import from abroad, we produce them in Ghana. So Sena, as far back as the early 1960s and late 1950s, Ghana had built an array of factories when we were producing even industrial goods. Even we have started the process of vehicle assembly. We are building our own radios, television sets. Okay? Sena, as far back as 1964, Ghana already had a nuclear reactor. Nuclear reactor in the area of science and technology. Even at that time, in 1964, the US didn't have it. Almighty America. 1964, it was after 1966 school that they came and dismantled our nuclear reactor at Kwabenya. Okay? So it tells you, Sena, of the greatness of this man. And how Ghana's bid for independence was going to be meaningful. Because Kwame Nkrumah believed that it was not just a flag and national anthem independence. It was a independence that should be meaningful to the well-being of the people. In every sphere, Nkrumah realized that education was foremost. He built the Ghana Trust Schools across the length and breadth of the country. Not a single area was left out. And people were going to school free. So you can imagine the level of investment. All these monies that were accrued from the time of independence to this were invested. Yet you hear people say that Kwame Nkrumah came and dissipated. Look at the investment he made. Look at the infrastructure he built. Roads. One of the most biggest legacy is the motorway. When Nkrumah was building the motorway, they said he was building prestigious and empty projects. Today, one of the lasting roads in the history of our country has been the motorway from the 1960s. Can you imagine how many years today? We have built roads. This motorway has been there. We have built roads and rehabilitated them 10 times. And the motorway has still been there. Can you see the lasting tribute? Akosombo Dam. Can you imagine if Akosombo Dam was not there, what would happen to this country? Okay? The array of factories across the length and breadth of the country. The tens of thousands of educated people who benefited from Kwame Nkrumah's education. So now, compare that to today. Under the aegis of the MPP government, under the Nana Akufo-Addo's government, they have come today and they have preached Ghana beyond aid. The simplest meaning of Ghana beyond aid is that we will not depend on outsiders to develop Ghana and, as it were, to give a better life for Ghanaians. That is what it should be alive. Under this government, when Nana Akufo-Addo took the reins of power on January 7, 2017, the total indebtedness of this country was 120 billion Ghana cedis. Today, as we speak, we have hit the 210 billion mark in 3 years. That means we are almost on the verge of doubling the indebtedness of the country from President Kwame Nkrumah to President Mahama, which was 120 billion, and which is now getting closer to the over 210 billion mark in just 3 years under the MPP. I shudder to think what will be even by the end of his term. By the grace of God, after these 4 years, Ghanaians will have enough of him and they will consign him to history. I'm saying that I shudder to think what will happen if you have initiated a Ghana beyond aid, and these are the horrible figures you can leave behind. This is the kind of reckless borrowing. And Sena, what is shocking is that in spite of the huge numbers, look, you have over, like I said, now they've brought it to 210 from 120. You are talking about almost 100 billion plus Ghana borrowing. Okay? What is shocking is that you ask them, what has the money been used for? Okay. Sometimes you ask, they tell you, free senior high school. And go and look at that one. Sena, we've had over 200 billion Ghana cedis in terms of taxes and oil revenue. Okay.
Okay. We'd have to move on.
As for the senior high school, they've not spent more than 5 billion on senior high school. Yet, anytime you talk, they say free senior high school. And you look at, when we interrogate the matters in parliament, you find out that it doesn't go even beyond the figure that they are talking about. So, where has the other money gone to? Okay, Alhaji. Okay? Alhaji, unfortunately, we have to leave it here. Yes, let me just end on this note. And so, look, the president talked about the issue of the stability of this nation. And that the stability of this nation must not be taken for granted. I can agree with him on that. It must not be taken for granted. That is why, as president of this republic, he must work more on consensus. When Ghanaians also come up whether he sees them as minority or what sections of Ghanaians, they also come up with concerns that they say impinge on our stability as a nation. He must listen, especially on the issue of the voters register.
I believe we will come there, but thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Alhaji.
He must listen.
Alhaji, we will come there.
Because that stability,
we will come there. Alhaji.
Most other people have a collective stake in that stability.
Alhaji, thank you.
And so he has a bonding duty to listen.
Thank you very much, Alhaji. Alhaji ABF Sena is Member of Parliament for Sanyarugu. Let me read a couple of your messages and I'll move to Sakasalia. Baba Musa in China says, when former President Kufuor didn't attend the 62nd independence celebration in Tamale, it's normal. It was no news. But when former President Mahama didn't attend independence celebration in Kumasi, it's a crime. What a hypocritical country. This ethnic bigotry must stop in Ghana. Who, in his normal senses, will say that Kufuor's absence at last year's event in Tamale was a disrespect to Dagbon or the people of northern Ghana. This mediocrity in Ghana's politics is very shameful. These things make me feel sick. Thank you very much for that message. Don't forget, you can also join us, contribute to the show. You can use the Facebook comment section. You can use the number that we are displaying, that we are using, our text message and WhatsApp line. He's talking about JB Dankwa and his generation. He said they are the biggest problem ever to hit Ghana. Them as a problem is bigger than coronavirus. Berima Osei says, what is this news about JDM not attending a faction? This will not solve the problems associated with the Free Senior High School. There is. And the missing excavators. Please, let's share this and move on. Thank you very much. And then he said, Akwete, he says, watching Osajifo's documentary yesterday on Pan-African TV, I couldn't help my tears as I could not understand that as far back as in the 60s, a little girl could be deliberately handed a bomb and be murdered in the process on the altar of politics just in an attempt to assassinate Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Today, same terrorism is unleashed on Ghanaians in many forms as the crafters continue in consistent failed attempt to rewrite the history of Ghana. But truth be told, that Nkrumah will never die and remains forever the founder of Ghana, as Dr. David Percy vividly unraveled yesterday. Sena, I was not born when slavery and colonialism was in existence, but Sena, I would prefer colonialism and slavery to this system of government. I'm not sure you know what they're talking about. So Zero says, there will be no new voter registration. The EC knows, and we know. They are packaging a lie to defend it when they tell Ghanaians. Positive change in Medina says Ghana's independence and freedom can only materialize when political leaders who are supposed to think about the development of the nation first rather think about how quick they can enrich themselves when asked to serve. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah believed in industrialization. That's why he built factories across the country. Same as JM and NDC. A day to Ghana's Independent Day celebration. Akufo-Addo is older than this country, believes in God, and was busily cutting salt for a church to be built for its citizens in exchange of creating jobs for the unemployed youth. Keeping Akufo-Addo at the Flagstaff House after 7 December elections will be a national disaster. Thank you for that. Adam Yakubu is saying if Bawumia is said is to be used as a yardstick for GM to nominate a running mate, then the development fortunes of this country will be in jeopardy. GM had already picked his running mate and will not be coerced by the frustrated MPP to do what they think is good for them. GM is resolute and more focused in salvaging this country from the hands of a corrupt MPP government. Magbash is saying the 63rd Independence Day celebration was classic, especially bringing it to Kumasi for the first time. Thank you, Mr. President, for that initiative. Kumasi was full to capacity. For coronavirus, we should prepare very well. Audu Sawate says, Sena, sometimes it pains me when I hear MPP claiming ownership of our independence after insulting Nkrumah and his family during that era, and numerous letters written by JB Dankwa to the Queen in England denigrating Nkrumah. God will punish them for their bad behavior. He sent that from Bogoso. And Ibrahim Kolom from Bongo says the Dankwa people should know better. That Dr. Nkrumah is an icon. His uncle Dankwa and his father Edward Akufo-Addo can't match Dr. Kwame Nkrumah anywhere. Nkrumah stands tall in Ghana and Africa as a whole. A lot more coming in. I'll read more as we go along. But let me end with Olanyo Nakwete, who says, God bless our homeland Ghana and may he continue to give us the likes of President Akufo-Addo, a visionary leader who will think about the ordinary citizens and not for his or her own interest and gains. Happy Independence Day to all Ghanaians. Saka.
Yeah.
Good morning. Nice to see you.
Thank you very much. So now, good morning to our cherished viewers. Good morning to Honorable Alhaji Sena and my brother Kosi Pratt. Happy belated Independence Day celebration to all. I think yesterday's celebration was one particular celebration all of us, not even the critics of government, would forget. I mean, if you look at the Ashanti region and the enthusiastic nature of everybody, especially those who were at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium, you will come to the realization that indeed having the celebration in the Ashanti region was a good thing. At least people are now being made to feel Ghanaians. In 2019, when we went to the northern region, I think almost everybody was happy. I mean, the economy of the northern region temporarily, became very buoyant. Everybody, celebrated and felt a Ghanaian. And that is all that it needs to. I was hearing an MP saying that, oh, what is the cost and all that. As if to say that when it's held in, anytime we celebrate it in Accra, it does not come with cost. Can you quantify the benefit that we as a nation derive from celebrating and then circulating this celebration from? If you want to quantify it into monetary terms, you won't get the real import of the whole celebration. But I'm happy that the good people of this country, the large majority of Ghanaians, believe that, having it rotating is the best thing to do, and that it gives sense of belonging to everybody, because Accra is not the only place that we can celebrate it. And of course, people can talk about cost, but how much is the cost? Because if you look at the Ashanti region, for instance, if you are trapped, because between Ashanti region and the Greater Accra region, I don't know what cost people talk about, other than maybe transportation costs. Because they also have army installations there that they can bring some of those equipment to display. So for me, apart from maybe the opposition trying to make, a mountain out of a molehill, and then once again criticize something good, because I don't understand why in this country, anytime any policy is being implemented, the opposition, even if they don't criticize, they will find a way of denigrating that policy. And that is exactly what they are doing now. If not, yesterday was very colorful. The speech was apt. It was one of the best speeches ever to be given by any president in our independence celebration. Why? What is Honorable ABA for any beef? His beef is that why should some people's names be called? That's it. And that they still want us to group in the dark, to still be so much obsessed with Kwame Nkrumah, still be talking almost everything invariably. We should relegate everybody to the background and talk only about Kwame Nkrumah. How? This is what they do, and then they invite us to the debate of Kwame Nkrumah, the other side of Kwame Nkrumah. For me, the president was apt. He mentioned all those people who contributed to who we are today, including the name Kwame Nkrumah. And then you are saying that, oh no, he should mention Kwame Nkrumah's name alone, and then let's come back to Accra. He shouldn't mention anybody's name. Just because Kwame Nkrumah's name is mentioned among other names, it means that he is equating them. Look, to the extent that Alhaji ABF went to say, oh, BBC conducted a survey, and then there was a general consensus, as if it was some serious survey that BBC conducted. It was just a vote of BBC listeners that they should vote in 1999, December. It's just like Pan-Africa TV saying that Pan-Africa TV listeners should vote who is the greatest, African to have lived on this earth. That doesn't mean you should say that, oh, there was a consensus and they brought all, and then he described it as if it was something big that ever happened. BBC can do their survey, CNN can do their survey, everybody will do their survey, and the results might not be the same. And indeed, in 2004, New Africa magazine, which is a London-based, very reputable magazine, also conducted a survey. And it was the greatest Africa to live on this earth. And the results was Mandela. Mandela came first, followed by Kwame Nkrumah, Mugabe, and all that. I'm saying that you go to Ghana Web. Go to Ghana Web today. New Africa magazine survey in 2004. Survey of how many people? I don't want to interfere, sorry. So you go and then interrogate the issue. So I'm not, and yeah, so I'm saying that the one that you are saying that Kwame Nkrumah was voted the man of the millennium, it's about a particular news portal. And then another one also did his own. Kwame Nkrumah came second. Mugabe came third. Mandela came first. So why would you just take the first one and then want to make noise all over the place as if this is a survey that has never been seen before? Then you go to say that, Nana Addo went to Addis Ababa and said that Kwame Nkrumah's status they should create another one for Emperor Gabriel Haile Selassie. I mean, without any iota of truth, you just peddle this thing.
I didn't say Gabriel. There's a Gabriel Selassie.
Okay, Emperor Selassie.
I said Emperor.
Yes,
it's not Gabriel.
Yes.
So get me right.
So it is not true. Can you give any evidence, please? Just give evidence to prove your case, because this is unverifiable. I said that this is one of those things that you've been peddling around.
This came out even
who brought it up?
At the African Union.
Who brought
the African Union of 2018, and it was
by who?
It was not disputed.
But it was disputed.
I am saying this. I am saying that. Let the Minister of Foreign Affairs deny what I'm saying.
Oh, this was debunked. It was not debunked.
It has never been debunked.
It is not true.
In which statement was it debunked?
Don't peddle something that is untruth.
Sorry.
It is not good for your reputation.
I will come back.
It is not good for your reputation. It's a lie, complete lie. When you people peddled that falsehood, Eugene Ahin, who is a director of communication at the presidency, came out and said that nothing of that happened. It's a lie, and that matter did not even come on to the table at all. It was not part of what was discussed. Then you are still here, still peddling the same falsehood that was discredited and thrown to the dogs. You see, for me, I think that there are a lot of positive things that we can garner from yesterday's celebration. The president spoke well. He spoke about the need. He even eulogized, local manufacturers. He talked about education, the fact that we've made free SHS available to everybody, and you don't need to go and borrow money, in order for you to send your child or your ward to school. He talked about, the penetration of electricity, about 85%. He talked about the peace that we are enjoying as a nation. And he's not saying that he alone brought the peace. At least the predecessors ensured that we had peace. And he continued with it. He talked about the economy, the expansion of the economy, what we have been able to do, and all that. And then this current coronavirus that is, rearing its ugly head. The president spoke about what, as government, we are doing. The fact that we have been able to ensure that all the entry points of this country, we put in place mechanisms, we put in place, experts, technicians, nurses, and we have earmarked, we have selected some health facilities to ensure that people who have shown telltale signs of those, of the disease are brought in, or first of all quarantined, and then diagnosed. Their sample is taken to Noguchi, and then already we have tested about 40 people, and fortunately for us, all of them have tested positive, negative. That is what a nation should do. And the president went ahead. to eulogize everybody, including Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. He talked about Efremu, he talked about Kwaji Agri, he talked about Akwaje, the Big Six, all of them. He talked about the contribution of all those, forebears who ensure that today, as a nation, we can, raise our heads high in a community of nations. And the president was not divisive at all. The whole program was assured to be that of national program. The flags that were being waved was that of the national flag. Everybody was happy. It was a celebration worth talking about. But our brothers from the NDC, and for who they are, they would not stop. Making it as if the president went to denigrate Kwame Nkrumah. Let's be talking about Kwame Nkrumah. The way you talk and praise Kwame Nkrumah and denigrate people, if I'm to talk about the negative aspect of Kwame Nkrumah now, the whole debate will be about somebody, Sakasale, sitting here and say Kwame Nkrumah is this, Kwame Nkrumah is that. But it's because of your obsession of Kwame Nkrumah and what he stood for. And you don't even know that Nanado, when he was a member of the Young Pioneers, he believed in the ideals of Kwame Nkrumah. So why then? He believed then. I'm saying that when he was young. Yes. So he will be the last person to stand today and want to denigrate or take the place of Kwame Nkrumah and replace him and supplant that with somebody else who is insignificant when it comes to the fight against for independence. We all know the history. We know what Kwame Nkrumah contributed. We know what others contributed. But for even others, Kwame Nkrumah would not have come to this country. He was doing his Pan-Africanism somewhere and all that, in Canada and then the UK, US and then the UK. But it took somebody who really wanted independence for this country. If they did not want independence, do you think that they will go and then, look for somebody they believe has a heart of to move us forward? They would not have done so. But because they believe in the independence, that the independence struggle, that is the reason why somebody suggested to the group that let's go for this man because he's doing certain things elsewhere and that he can help in our struggle. But in the course of the struggle, problems came and Kwame Nkrumah decided to go solo. So does that mean that they were just people who did not have this nation at heart? So if by events, if by what folded, event shows that because Kwame Nkrumah was very charismatic, and indeed, if you look at him, I mean, he was somebody we all know who was so okay. I don't want to use certain words, but he believed in himself more than any other person, and all his dealings was about himself. He did not believe in the group work. And even when he was doing this evening news and, he was talking about himself and denigrating the others. So, and talking about the populism was also there. If you talk about independent now, the man on the street who believed that, okay, let me get independent now, they will be more aligned to him. And his popularity, was so huge when he started talking about independent now. It's sort of, gradual independence. I mean, other African countries got independent gradually. But that doesn't mean that those who ensure that they gradually got the independent were not serious. So, I mean, for this debate of Kwame Nkrumah is this, and then he went and gave 10,000 to Guinea and then all those things. There are always reasons for overthrows. People will definitely come out with reasons. And the overthrow, as we all know, the overthrow of Kwame Nkrumah, even though some of us, I mean, our forebears, believe that Kwame Nkrumah was not, doing the right thing. They were not the architect of the coup. We know those who were in the military coup, the police administration. Who did the coup? The Harleys, those were the people. Those were the IGPs of the days, the military high commands. They ensured the coup was done. The Kotokais and all that. Did you hear any member of the forebears of the MPP who was part of those coups? Buzia was not part of the coup.
About those who were involved.
Listen. Buzia was not part of the coup. What we know, what we know is that don't laugh. You see, don't do propaganda. No, listen. Don't do those propaganda here. You see, that's what you do and pollute.
No,
pollute the others. Listen, no. Listen.
Buzia
Buzia was not part of the coup. Buzia was rather part of the administration as an advisor. So, for instance, if you go and do your coup and you think that there's somebody with the know-how who can advise me to govern well.
Who doesn't like the coup?
Does that mean that the person was part of the coup?
You don't like the coup, but yeah, you can be advised.
No, but I mean, people were the market women and everybody. People were jubilating. People were jubilating. And if you are talking about JB Danko and Co., they are no match and all those things. Let me tell you, even Kwame Nkrumah himself, when he was giving one of his broadcasts from Guinea, he said that they asked him a question. He said, they asked him that what is his greatest regret on earth? Yes.
His greatest.
Yes.
And he said what?
His greatest regret. Kwame Nkrumah said that his greatest regret is not to have reconciled with JB Danko before the death. Yes.
Where did you get
so if you don't know, go and do your.
What is the source?
I'll give you.
Give me now.
Oh, please. People are listening.
What is the source?
People are listening.
Please, let him land so that we
can
continue, Saka.
Kwame Nkrumah said
God damn it.
unequivocally that his greatest regret is not to have reconciled with JB Danko before the death of JB Danko. And barely a year after that, So for me, I am saying that you are here condemning JB Danko. You are here condemning others who contributed. The man himself, Kwame Nkrumah, who perpetrated certain acts against JB Danko and others, is saying, even in his lifetime, that upon hindsight, he would not have done some of the things that he did. But you are sitting here and saying, to the world that Kwame Nkrumah was above reproach. He could not have done anything wrong, and all manner of things. Like I said from the very beginning, I don't want us to shift this debate to whether Kwame Nkrumah is Kwame Nkrumah is. We are celebrating our independence, and in celebration of independence, a lot of people contributed. Let's mention them. Let their offsprings also feel that their parents or their grandfathers also did something. It will encourage everybody. But if you say that let's exclude everybody, let's put only Kwame Nkrumah at the top and denigrate everybody, I don't think that is the way we govern a nation.
Okay.
And for me, whatever that we see in opposition, as opposition members, we should also be mindful of the fact that we have a nation to build.
Okay.
Whether we spend much on the celebration because we have sent it outside Accra is neither here nor there. Because the benefit that we will get from the celebration will be far better or far higher or greater than if we had not celebrated it. Because now almost everybody have accepted that fact. And for a whole former president who has become boycott general, to say that, for national events there, nowadays he will not do State of the Nation's address. Your mama decided that he will not be part of it. For no reason. He did not even assign any reason for his boycott of the State of the Nation's address.
Is
the other former presidents were present. Their presence was so conspicuous. Then it came to the celebration of the National Independence Day. That one too, John Mama was nowhere to be found. And now the same person is going around telling us that Ghanaians should vote for him when he has decided that he will not be part of the national programs.
Is that the official position that you're stating, that the former president was invited and he refused to attend? Is
Yeah,
that
he
the
refused
official?
to attend. Did you see him?
That
there?
is what you've gotten from the
Did you
people,
see
the
him there?
organizers of the event.
I'm not talking about organizers of the. I'm telling you what we are.
I'm saying that. I'm saying that. It's not about what you see.
It's not about.
No, we are speaking to the, we are speaking to the public.
Yes.
The former president, an invitation was being extended to him. You are a member of a communications team of the NPP, the governing party. And I am asking you, what you are saying, is it based on what you've just seen that you are drawing your own conclusion, or is based on the information that's coming from
No,
within
do you
those
have
organizers?
contrary information that he gave a reason for his conspicuous absence?
No, but that's why I'm asking you, so that we know how to compare them.
This is not the only boycott that he has done. He continued to boycott national events. The State of the Nation's address, was he there?
In all those, do you know whether he responded to the invitation or not?
He never responded. If he had responded, the response would have been put out there for everybody to see. So I'm saying that it's becoming one too many, and it's no longer even news for your mama not to be part of national events.
Okay.
And if you decide that you will not honor or you will not respect national events, why do you want to rule us as a nation? Why do you want to rule us? That is the reason why I believe that honestly, if you want good leaders for this country, especially the coming elections, the person that should not even come near leadership is John Mama.
Okay.
He has proven time and again that even when given the opportunity to rule us, he was not able to rule us. You were talking about debt and all those things. What is the debt to GDP ratio when he was going out? He could not even, govern the proper way. He was unable to even manage the economy and had to leave us with IMF.
Okay.
He himself said that they had lost credibility and therefore was going for policy credibility.
Okay.
They gathered people at Senchi because for them, they have no credibility. So all Ghanaians should come and all. Then you are saying that for him, he managed the economy well. Look at the debt to GDP ratio when it comes to look at the strength of the city.
Okay.
You have to put all these things in context when you are talking about the economy.
Saka, thank you very much. But just that you'd have to provide us the source of that.
No, but was he there? Was he
No.
Was he in Kumasi?
No, not that one. I think the Nkrumah, the historical reference you made.
No, I will give you that. But it's the truth.
Talking to the
That
people,
is
it's
the
the
truth,
truth.
yeah. Thank you.
I used to say that you must.
When you were talking, you didn't give us any evidence.
well,
any evidence of the fact that Ronaldo went to
please, let's continue.
Ronaldo went to Addis Ababa and said that they should add.
Kodoto Mbafo is saying, Sena, let's Kasali understand this clearly. No amount of national cathedrals and other populist gamers could put the current occupational fascists in the Flagstaff House at par with Nkrumah. In a day to come soon and very soon, we will finish that stupid argument about who founded Ghana with finality. And they should take it to the darkest place where the sun never shines and mark it there. What is it that Mr. Kasali think that President Mahama is obligated to attend every event he is invited to? Are we not in a free country? Did Jerry Rawlings attend? Why isn't he talking about Jerry Rawlings not attending? When Akufo-Addo was in opposition, was he attending every state program? Mohammed in Norway says Sakasela is telling us that eulogies equals development and achievement. Now all MPP has been saying all this years is we are doing. It's in the pipeline, blah, blah, blah. The question is, what has Nana Addo done? Blatant lies. Clearly, Salia should go back to school. Governance is not about your opponents. It's about all, including your opponents. Mr. Pratt.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I'm quite shocked and dazed by some of the statements which have been made around this table. We are made to understand around this table that good leaders are those who attend independence anniversaries in Kumasi. I think that's an insult to the people of this country. Good leaders are leaders who attend independence anniversaries in Kumasi. My goodness, is that what leadership is about? Stop insulting the people of this country. And let us focus on the essential things. There are so many people in this country who today are actually living in the Stone Age. And I'm not exaggerating. And you look those people in the eye, those people who have mandated you, have given you their power, their sovereignty to solve their problems, and you tell them that good leadership is about attending Independence Day anniversaries. What happened to access to housing? What happened to access to potable water? What happened to the effort to solve the actual needs of our people and so on? This cheap populism is an insult to the people of our country, to the men and women of our country, to the young people of our country. And I think it should stop. Look, right now, things are so very difficult for many people in our country. And we should not be insulting them in addition to the sufferings that they are enduring. You see, Sena, the celebration of Independence Day is a solemn occasion for us to evaluate how far we have come with regards to the objectives of the independence movement. Have we been able to achieve the objectives we set ourselves as independence, or have we not been able to achieve those objectives? And if we have not been able to, achieve those objectives, what is it that we can do or may do in order to take us there? And in this, we need to remind ourselves very clearly that the independence movement was about ensuring that the people of Ghana can elect their own leaders. It was about ensuring that the people of Ghana will be free to make decisions about their destiny, to choose their political path, to choose their economic path, to build the kind of society that they want to build as a people, and so on. The objective of the independence movement was also to ensure that the people of Ghana owned their own resources. Resources embedded in the soils of Ghana and above the soils of Ghana. The objective of the independence movement was also to ensure that the vast resources of Ghana will be exploited for the benefit of the people of Ghana. So if today we celebrate Independence Day, it is important to evaluate our situation and to see whether these objectives have been achieved. We cannot forget that on the eve of Ghana's independence, Osajefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, not J.B. Dankwa, declared loud and clear that the independence of Ghana was meaningless unless it was linked to the total liberation of Africa. That gave us another objective of the independence movement. That statement meant that Ghana was going to become the base for the liberation of all other African countries from the colonial yoke. Today, as we sit in this studio, there are still many places in Africa which are under the colonial yoke. First and foremost, the Indian Ocean Islands. Those Indian Ocean islands are still under the colonial yoke. So it means that the task of liberating Africa from the colonial yoke has not been fully achieved. As we sit in the studio today, the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, otherwise referred to as Western Sahara, is also under the colonial yoke. As we speak today, West Papua is under the colonial yoke. Indeed, the independence project was an internationalist project that aimed at liberating all persons facing oppression and exploitation. And we cannot forget that that task has not been fully, achieved. As for the resources of Ghana being owned by the people of Ghana and being exploited in the interest of people of Ghana, it is clear that we are nowhere towards achieving that. My brother, look at the mobile telephone sector of the communications sector of the national economy. What is the Ghanaian interest in the mobile phone sector? The Ghanaian interest in the mobile phone sector is minimal. Foreign multinational corporations and so on dominate the mobile phone sector of our economy. And that should be a worry, to us. Ghana is said to be one of the leading producers of gold in the world. But if you check the figures and so on, today, total Ghanaian interest in the exploitation of gold resources is about 3%. 3%. If you go back to the 1970s, the Champon government actually passed a law which said that any mining concern, no mining concern will be given a license if it didn't have 55% Ghanaian participation. From the 1970s to today, our total participation in gold mining has reduced to 3%. Not just that, Ghana had what was then called the golden share in Anglo Gold Ashanti. We actually sold the golden share. The golden share in Anglo Gold Ashanti is what enabled us to veto decisions of the board, to make sure that decisions of the board were in consonance with the interests of the people of Ghana. We sold it. So today, at meetings of the board of one of the biggest mines in this country, Ghana has no say. That is how far we have come. Don't you feel sad? If you look at the statistics, Ghana gets only 1.7% of the value of gold that is exported outside this country. So the objectives of the independence movement has not been achieved. Look at the oil and gas sector. We have only 13.5% in the oil and gas sector. You understand? These are things that ought to be worrying for any patriotic Ghanaian, anybody who shares in the dream of Osajefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah at independence. I'm very, very deeply worried by these developments. But Sena, those who have made it their abiding duty to relegate Nkrumah to the background and so on, I have no difficulty with them. But please, they should save us the embarrassment and indignity of hoisting criminals as our national heroes. That's my worry. You know, the current president, his father, and two other judges, Justice Van Leer and Justice Akukosa, tried Obeche Bilamte. They tried him. They presided over the case. They tried Obeche Bilamte. And they, in their judgment, described Obeche Bilamte as a terrorist. They sentenced Obeche Bilamte. They put Obeche Bilamte in prison. Akufo-Addo's father was one of three judges who sentenced Obeche Bilamte as a terrorist and committed him to prison. So today, if we are being told that we should salute Obeche Bilamte as a founder of this republic, is that not an insult? And is it me who is saying it? Akufo-Addo's father, his judgment is available. Indeed, his judgment is published in a booklet titled Terrorism Under Nkrumah. That booklet is on sale as we speak at the Freedom Bookshop near Apollo Theatre. Anybody who wants a copy of that judgment can go there now and buy a copy of that judgment. The judgment which said that Obeche Bilamte is a terrorist. And today, our president, His Excellency Akufo-Addo, and the New Patriotic Party are telling us that we should adopt a terrorist as a founder of our republic. I feel so insulted, unbelievable insult. Now, some people don't know what happened in our country. The pain is still there. There are people who still feel the pain of this treacherous terrorists and what they did to our country. Right now, if you go to Dansuma in Accra, there's a place in Dansuma in Accra called Exhibition. Go there now. There's a woman there called Asantewa. Asantewa was a schoolgirl who went to the Accra Sports Stadium for an event. As a result of the explosion of dynamite supplied by Obeche Bilamte and others, she lost her leg. Asantewa is alive as we speak now. Go there now. Asantewa has been crying since the 1960s. Every time I go to visit Asantewa, she's in tears, she's crying. Her life was destroyed by these desperate terrorists. And today, we are told that these desperate terrorists are the founders of Ghana. What an insult. You know something? Today,
does that make him prison?
He was also in prison. Saka, let him. Let him.
You let him. He was never tried.
Let him continue, Mr. Pratt.
Let him make that mistake.
But what was the reason for his prison?
Saka,
Let him
continue, Mr. Pratt.
Master, today, we are told, under President Akufo-Addo, we are told that some people are organizing a secessionist movement in the Western region, in the Volta region. And that is a big national problem. You've heard about the Western Togoland thing and so on, and statement issued by the same government. Then the same government describes Anto, who was the secessionist leader, as a national hero and one who fought for the independence of Ghana. Does it make sense? Anto, SG Anto, leader of the secessionist movement in Togo, in the Volta region, has now become a national hero. In any case, are you surprised? My brother, after the 1966 coup, in 1969, when Dr. K.A. Buza became Prime Minister of Ghana, he appointed S.G. Ato as Ghana's ambassador to Togo. He rewarded the secessionist movement. He was appointed as Ghana's ambassador to Togo. I feel ashamed. I feel embarrassed by this. My brother, listen to me very carefully. You know, I don't know who has been feeding Saka with the kinds of things he's been spewing here. All of Nkrumah's broadcasts from Guinea-Conakry are published today in a book called Dark Days in Ghana. The book is available at Freedom Bookshop. That whole book is available. It's edited by June Mill. Nowhere in Nkrumah's broadcast did he say the things that Saka is attributing to him. And anybody can go and buy the broadcast and read today. In any case, Saka says that in the broadcast from Conakry, Guinea, Nkrumah was asked and he said this. I can't blame him. I listened to those broadcasts myself. My parents used to listen to those broadcasts. We used to listen to those broadcasts. They were broadcasts. They were not interviews. In those broadcasts, Nkrumah was never asked any question. So where is Saka getting this information from? Very simple. He's just sitting here, cooking up information and throwing it at us. Yes, and he thinks that we are like him. We are as ignorant as he is. We are not. Nowhere in Nkrumah's broadcast did this issue even come up?
I'll get you the information.
Get me better information, not the one you just released. The one you just released is bogus.
Kwame Nkrumah said his greatest regret was not to reconcile with
in his broadcast from Kwame, when he was asked.
But did he say that or not?
Asked by who?
Did he say that or not?
Saka, don't spoil the program.
I'm just saying that you are accused the MPP of lying and fabricating.
Oh, Master Jay.
That's just talking trade.
Okay, please, Mr.
They
President.
do that all the time.
You see, the facts are there. The facts are there, and stop doing this. You know, one of the issues which came out at the celebration of independence in Kumasi has to do with our preparedness, you know, to contain the coronavirus should we have an outbreak in Ghana. My brother, on Wednesday this week, I read the World Health Organization's evaluation of Ghana's state of preparedness. I'm sure you all did. It's published in all the major newspapers in Ghana. And I hope my brother Saka also managed to read it. The World Health Organization is saying that even if you accept the Ghana plan, if you accept the Ghana plan as it is, as a sensible response, as a workable response and so on, there's a funding gap of 35 million Ghana cedis. This is the World Bank evaluation, not me. Funding gap of 35 million Ghana cedis. What does that mean? It means that for us to be able to implement that plan, we need to go and find. We don't have 35 million Ghana cedis to fund that plan. How much did the government of Ghana earmark for the plan? 2.9 million cedis. 2.9 million Ghana cedis. And there's a funding gap of 35 million Ghana cedis. My brother, are you not ashamed that at a time when our plans for containing the coronavirus, it is not colonial, please, don't.
Corona. That's what he said.
Yes, don't come and confuse me with your ignorance. My friend, at a time when we can't find 35 million Ghana cedis, not dollars, not euros, we are busy constructing a cathedral. What is wrong with us? Where is our priority? Where is our priority? I'm sick and tired. I am sick and tired of this. Look at what all the other countries are doing. And look at us. And we are boasting of improvements in the economy and so on and so forth. And we have a problem with finding 35 million Ghana cedis. We can rent a presidential jet at $17,000 an hour for weeks. And we cannot find 35 million Ghana cedis to contain the coronavirus. Are you not ashamed? I am. Are you not ashamed? I am very, very, very ashamed. You understand? Now, my brother, the visiting head of state, you saw a visiting head of state at the independence celebration. Did you listen to his speech? Even him acknowledged the exceptional and significant role of Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, not just in the struggle for independence in Ghana alone and Africa, but throughout the world. Nkrumah is too big for Ghana. And this, please, excuse my language, I mean, if you follow Saka, you may say something which will bring the roof down. So people like Saka, they should just be ignored. Don't follow them. You bring the roof down on all of us. There are some people saw that he was doing something somewhere and they brought him. What's something? Last month, the Hungarian historian Marika Sherwood launched a book on Kwame Nkrumah in Accra. The Hungarian historian Marika Sherwood, one of the most outstanding historians of all times. Marika Sherwood, in her book, backed by concrete research, states that Nkrumah was not struggling for the independence of the Gold Coast alone. Nkrumah started off first and foremost to struggle for the total liberation of the whole of West Africa from the colonial yoke. Long before he became General Secretary of the United Gold Coast Convention, he was struggling to liberate the whole of West Africa. It's in Marika Sherwood's book. That book is available at the Institute of African Studies. Anybody who wants to read that book can go to Institute of African Studies and get a copy. In fact, it's not even expensive. It's 35 cedis. That history is there. That's why they set up the West African Secretariat. That is why they set up the West African Students' Union. Indeed, when Nkrumah was invited to become the General Secretary of the UGCC, he rejected it. He refused. Go and read the history.
He was persuaded, seriously. But eventually accepted it.
Would you shut up? Master, Nkrumah refused. The reason for his refusal was that the Ghana project was too small and that he wanted to liberate the whole of West Africa, not Gold Coast. It was Padmore and others who persuaded him that yes, they agree with him. All of Africa has to be liberated and so on. But he should go to Ghana and use Ghana as the base for the liberation struggle throughout Africa. This is the history. And then today, Master, we are being told that when it comes to the history of the independence struggle in Ghana, Bafwa Koto should be seen as a national hero. Do you know who Bafwa Koto is? My brother, Bafwa Koto's role in history is limited to the formation of the National Liberation Movement. The National Liberation Movement emerged after independence. Bafwa Koto is the guy who issued the fatwa, that all Ashantis everywhere have to come home and join the National Liberation Movement against Nkrumah. That was after independence. He made an appeal not to Ghanaians, to Ashantis. That is the reason why people like RR and Ponsa and others left the convention, Victor Wusu and others left the Convention People's Party. They were all originally members of the Convention People's Party. When Bafwa Koto issued the fatwa, they left and joined the NLM. So Bafwa Koto is not a national leader. Bafwa Koto is an Ashanti leader. Go and read the history. That's the fatwa he issued. In any case, the so-called United Party, who was behind it? The so-called United Party, which is the genesis of the current New Patriotic Party. Do you know how it came about? The people who were fighting against Nkrumah were tribalists and religious sects and so on. So you had the Mambi Party, which was a Ghana nationalist party. You had the Gashifumakwe, which was a Ghana nationalist movement. You had the Muslim People's Party.
Muslim Association Party.
Muslim Association Party. And then you have the others and so on. So Nkrumah decided that this country will be destroyed if you allow parties formed on the basis of religion and ethnicity and all of those considerations. So the Nkrumah government formed the Avoidance of Discrimination Act, under which you could not form sectarian political parties. It is the passage of the Avoidance of Discrimination Act which compelled all these Muslim, Ashanti, Northern, and so-called parties to come together under the United Party. So even if you are looking at the origins of the New Patriotic Party, Nkrumah is the founder. Nkrumah is the one who passed legislation compelling them to unite in the United Party.
Nkrumah passed legislation, not parliament.
And that's what?
Now he's saying that Nkrumah passed it, so it's not parliament. So when we are talking about the PDS to agree that it was Nkrumah, not parliament.
I think that if you know how laws are passed.
No, but he is saying he's telling us
executive.
He's telling Nkrumah did all those things.
It's the executive that.
So Nkrumah did the PDS.
Okay.
It's executive that initiates legislation.
Sally, your point is made.
PDS has nothing to do with Nkrumah.
PDA.
It's not a PDA.
PDS. That company who took over the electricity company of Ghana was established by the Akufo-Addo government. Don't bring it. PDA. And not PDS.
You are now correcting yourself.
You are confusing yourself. You are sitting here just confused.
No,
he said
PDS. You said PDS.
Oh,
PDS is about electricity.
That's what listeners sometimes don't go there.
But they heard you say PDS.
Go and then catch on something small and want to make it. So say that the PDA was brought down. Forget about PDS.
So your statement was something small.
Oh, please. Let's go to the subject.
Don't waste the years. Master,
we can all do what you are doing.
Master,
we can all clinch on small.
No, but it's not small. You should admit that.
Okay, please.
You are not even admitting
that. You that the PDA was it Nkrumah or Parliament?
Okay.
Master.
Thank you,
Master,
Mr. Pratt.
If the Avoidance of Discrimination Act was Nkrumah,
no. The platform does not allow for those kind of questions. If questions were to be asked, it is not from you. It is from me who I'm supposed to be asking the question. You don't tell me which questions to ask. When you are speaking, I allow you to speak until you bring facts that I question. So let him go ahead.
Sena, I think that this is perhaps one of the most important platforms in this country. This is a program which has, over years, been recognized as the most prestigious, most listened to talk show in this country. So we should show some respect to our viewers and listeners. We shouldn't come here and be told, oh, that small thing and so on at them. We should be speaking facts to our viewers and listeners. You're either talking about PDS or you're talking about PDA. PDS, nothing like PDS existed under Nkrumah. You understand? So let us be clear when we are speaking on this platform. This is not a small platform. This is a big platform.
Okay. He says it's a slip of tongue.
The last time even Baumian name became a topic here. I mean, those things are not things that we should be talking about.
In any case, you asked me about PDA. I'm ready to discuss PDA. I'm not afraid at all to discuss PDA. Show me one country in the world, including the United States of America and Britain, which has not passed PDA to deal with terrorists. Show me one. The United States of America today, Britain today, Germany today, all of them have passed laws making it possible to detain terrorists without trial or charge. Nkrumah's vision in those days is being realized even in the Western capitals. Why? Go and read the judgment of Judge Akufo-Addo. Go and read his judgment. Go and read the judgment of Seaku Kosa. Go and read the judgment of Van Leer and so on. And these were not CPP people. And if you read their judgments and they confirm to you that these were terrorists, come and tell me that it was wrong to arrest them and detain them. Why? The people who were so busily exploding dynamites, killing innocent women and children and so on, they should not have been arrested.
There were no court.
They should not have been arrested. You today, you sing the praises of America, Britain and so on. You describe them as models of democracy that we should copy. Don't they have PDAs?
Otherwise, why do you have Guantanamo?
Stop this joke. My brother, I finished. No, if you follow Saka, you say some things.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Pratt. Let me just
one point.
1 point.
Yes. You see, that's what I'm saying, that the NPP people, they are so down outright hypocritical. Double standard. This was a group of people led by K. Ebuzia, who sent a petition to the Queen. In fact, under Kwame Nkrumah, Ghana should have had independence by 1954, latest 1956. It's this same UP people. They sent a delegation. I know what they told the Queen. Why are you in a hurry to leave us? The colonialists. They were telling the colonialists, why are you in a hurry to leave us? We are not mature to look after ourselves. These people, today they have the audacity to look Ghanaians in the face and claim that they were rather the forebears of our independence. The people who took every step to scatter our independence, to make sure that in their own decision, independence will come in the shortest possible time. And Sena, you know the shortest possible time. Okay. It can come in 10, 20. But if we had followed the UGCC and the UP people, today we will still be under colonial rule.
Okay, Alhaji, thank you. Thank you.
Today they have the impudence
thank you very much,
to look us in the face and claim that they are rather the forebears of independence. Look at them.
No, do you have a point to make?
Yeah.
So you signal me.
You see, exactly what
I was going to come even to the depth. When I get the opportunity, I'll come back.
Exactly what I was talking from the very beginning. I think that any time we celebrate independence, the topic has always been Kwame Nkrumah is this, Kwame Nkrumah has done that, Kwame Nkrumah has done that. I think that there should be a period where, as a nation, we should be thinking of where we are going after the celebration of independence. But look at all these things that are coming. Calling people's names, CIA, people, and all manner of things. But I'm saying, I am saying, if you see, if Uncle Kwesi see that Prevention, Avoidance of Discrimination Act, by dint of the fact that it was passed during the period of Kwame Nkrumah passed it. He personally passed it. Why are they running away when we talk about the PDA? You see, these are some of the contradictions that we've been talking about all the time. You see, these people, they will blow hot and cold.
Saka, I've not run away from the PDA.
No, you've run away. You just run away. You said. So are you saying that the US and the UK, they have PDA?
Yes.
They have something in their laws that they call PDA.
Yes. You don't know.
PDA.
Do they have to call it?
Or they have something to call it? I thought that you are.
Thank you very much. I'll take a short break. When I come back, we'll deal with the rest of the issue. You're watching Alhaji and Alhaji live on Pan-African television.
He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom.
Hey, Bukuya. The thing all the pressure to me sister. What tongue come from? You said the people na ya na sa o yare ko. They said when you Joe one, what to ha wusu ni.
Ma nya osanka betu mi kaba.
Ma.
We yare na menya anu aduro. Nti na ma me tonka fra o se bra no.
Eh na me bi se fen ya go. Pese wa ma me ye ma hye me.
Ko fichira. Wa yase na ya na ye o ya mo.
And the champion of liberty, of human equality. Let's salute him, fellow Ghanaians, the nation's founder, Sergeant Kwame Nkrumah.
Thank you for staying tuned to the mother of all talk shows, Alhaji and Alhaji, live on Pan-African TV. We're also live on Ahunto 92.3 FM. We are live on Facebook. Pan-African Television is the page. We're live on Radio Gold 905 FM, another page on Facebook. Thank you very much for staying tuned. My name is Sena. Nombo. Joining me this morning is Mr. Kwesi Prajina, who is managing editor of the Insight newspaper. Saka Saleh is a member of the MPP's communication team, and then Honorable A.B.A. Fuseni is member of Parliament for Sanyarugo in the Northern region, I believe. Yeah. So, for Fali Ojo, you say, ask the MPP man in your studio how many national events Nanado attended when GM was president. Does he think Nanado is more human than John Mahama? Well, that is coming from Fafali. Koblavi of Pokwasi Bengazi says, Ghanaians celebrated the Independence Day yesterday with hunger and no pocket money. This is the first time such a catastrophe has hit Ghanaians in the history of Ghana. It is because the MPP government is bad luck government. Great. Okay, thank you very much for sending that in. Charles Namina Samakese says, what took place at Kumasi yesterday was more of a political party function than a national program. So you should understand why some statesmen foresaw it and didn't want to be part of this national shame. It's very unfortunate this MPP government has thrown away our rich Ghanaian culture and trying to rewrite history. God save us. Thank you for that, Charles. Senator Bright in Dansuman says, I'm a young man with limited knowledge on the history of Ghana. I would like to plead with your panelists to tell me what exactly Dr. Kwame Nkrumah did to the Akufo-Addo family to warrant the sharp hatred for him. It's clear Nana-Addo and his group hates Nkrumah so much. I thought the MPP said John Mahama is a nobody. So how come with all the dignitaries present at yesterday's celebration, the absence of President Mahama is a topic and not the empty loose talks by Nana-Addo? I'm told government paid 20 cedis each to its members to attend. We are told by credible sources from the Flagstaff House that 74 billion cedis was spent on just one day Independence Day celebration when our children are sleeping on the floor to learn under trees. Sir, 2020 is a rescue meaning. Let's all join. Thank you very much. AK Kwashi says, Sena, please let Saka Salia know that the organization of the Independence Day anniversary comes with extra costs on the taxpayer. Now, the president and his entire entourage flew to Kumasi whilst their vehicles went through road. Does he know that it costs to fuel one vehicle of the presidential convoy? Does he know what it costs to fly the presidential plane one time? What about the hotels, the president and his team? All the ministers who went to fly to Kumasi, which is very expensive, and some of these ministers went on Thursday, which means that they slept in a hotel and also ate in a hotel. What about all the expenses of the vice president and his entourage, the chief of staff and the deputies who also went in a plane? The spokesperson of the GES, Madam Cassandra Chum, was there from Thursday, and all these people probably flew to Kumasi. The Trinidad and Tobago leader and his entire entourage who came was probably accommodation in a 5-star hotel at the expense of the Ghanaian taxpayer. So please tell Sakaselia to stop deceiving us, because if the program was organized in Accra, there wouldn't be the need for flight tickets for anyone. Neither shall we pay hotel accommodation for anyone, nor pay for food in any hotel, because Lord Kometu went to Kumasi somewhere on Monday. So you can imagine the hotel cost for him and his special aid or assistant. Thank you. Sena, this is from Koji Chumba. Sena, when an intelligent people run your country, they go for stones from Israel, a country that is a Zionist republic whose official religion is Judaism, and place them as cornerstone for a purported national cathedral being built for Christians by a conman. Saka, are you people aware that Jews are not Christians? Alex, okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. One of our listeners is actually sharing with us a story about the claim that Honorable A.B.F. Sena has been making. Now, the story is published by newbusinessethiopia.com, a website that describes itself as the leading Ethiopian news portal. And it was published on February 10, 2019. And it says, African Union unveils Ethiopia's Emperor Haile Selassie statue. And it says the African Union Commission today unveiled the statue of Ethiopia's Emperor Haile Selassie built in AU headquarters compound in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The statue is unveiled this morning by Chairperson of African Union Commission, Musa Faki Mahamat, Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, Ghana's President Nana-Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, Rwanda's President Paul Kagame, who is also outgoing Chairperson of the African Union. The statue is built in recognition of the role of Emperor Haile Selassie played for the realization of the Organization of African Union in 1963. Emperor Selassie I, the first, served as king of Ethiopia from 1930 to 1974. The emperor was overthrown, it goes ahead. Then the next one was the idea to put the statue of Emperor Haile Selassie I was promoted by Ghana's president, Nana-Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. It is recalled that the statue of Kwame Nkrumah, of Ghana's former president, was also built within the African Union compound a few years ago for his contribution for the foundation of the OAU. So that is the story.
I'm telling you the obvious.
No.
Just
So that is the story.
Okay,
I'm just telling you that you for a very vindictive, vengeful government.
They should send it to us.
the president,
Because of the vindictiveness
it is not
and
true.
vengefulness of this your government against Kwame Nkrumah. That's what you want.
The flags have-
Don't argue about the obvious.
The flags have
Don't argue. Which flags have out?
and said
Came
that
out to
it's
say
not
what?
true.
When this is a matter of fact.
It's
In
not
the
true.
international community.
It's just like-
He muted the thing
No.
at the AU headquarters. It's a matter of
not true.
resolution.
He never-
Why are you arguing about the obvious?
It is not true.
Even when you are being exposed and this
Exposed by who?
you should keep quiet.
Exposed by who?
My brother, stop what you are doing. Why are you arguing about the obvious truths?
What is the
Well,
obvious?
let me read a couple more of your messages.
do that?
And is it Nana Yauchunibu as someone says, and it says, Kwesi Pratt, why make the MPP's rep on Alhaji and Alhaji look so stupid? Good leaders attend Independence Day celebrations indeed. Edward Dongoyo is okay. A lot more on the banter between Mr. Pratt and Saka Salia. Sape Agboy say Obiche Bilamte was a certified and incarcerated terrorist. However, we are still unable to remove his name from the Kanishio Abuse Okai runabout. Why? What's the problem? We still call our only international airport after the man who led the first coup to remove the founder of the country and truncated our socio-political and economic trajectory. He again says that Saka should not repeat the lies of both Bawumia and Nana Akufo-Addo concerning the strength of the cedi. The appreciative, in the exchange rate of the cedi vis-a-vis the dollar is not a result of the particular prudent economic policy of the MPP government. Is a result of the outbreak and spread of the coronavirus, as established even by Sami Jemfi. Unless he doesn't read, I can point him to what's happening on the world financial market. Wall Street is struggling. Just yesterday, the combined value of the FITS is 100 firms in the UK lost over 61 billion pounds. A massive loss due to the coronavirus. Thank you very much for sending in those messages.
It is a fact that the cedi has appreciated in value because of the slump in international trade and so on. But the appreciation of the value of the cedi is not leading to lowering of the prices, it's leading to increasing of the prices. You know why? Because as a result of the slump in trade, there are shortages now. Demand is where it was, but supply has declined, leading to increases in prices.
But if it is true that the appreciation of the cedi against the other currencies as a result of the coronavirus, and they make a point that because of the trade volume that is done between Ghana and China, it's now no longer in existence or has drastically reduced. The same also happened to Nigeria. They also almost invariably had the same trade volume and other West African countries. But their currencies are depreciating against the dollar. So it means that
why do you get this information?
Oh yeah, but
Saka, don't sit here.
I'm not sitting. So where did you also hear your information?
As you speak.
Okay, please.
Where did you hear your information? What measures have you taken to?
You know what I'm saying?
What measures?
I'm not saying.
But as you speak now, you have the foreign exchange committee. 40 members.
They are yet to bring their
40 members.
They are
You've
yet
done
to
nothing.
bring them.
Absolutely nothing.
They are supposed to even bring long term.
Thank you. I give the liberty. I'm taking it away. We are moving on to the next topic. The next topic of discussion is the issue of the voters register. Now, this week, the Inter-Party Resistance Against the Compilation of a New Voters Register held a press conference at which they raised issues about some of the facts being put out by the Electoral Commission. They are alleging that the things being attributed to the current vendors of the biometric voter management system are not accurate. That they've written emails to those groups and they've told them that they've never told the EC that the biometric voter management system was at end of life and needed to be replaced. Well, that's our next topic for discussion. Of course, Imani has also been raising several issues about some of the claims being made by the Electoral Commission. They are accusing the Electoral Commission of actually lying, and the Electoral Commission is yet to respond to any of the facts they have put out. Well, let me once again start with Alhaji ABF Sena. And this time around, I have 10 minutes for you.
Sena, I think the conundrum of issues, and it boils down to one clear thing. That given the abysmal performance of the MPP in government, and the fact that they have subjected Ghanaians to unprecedented levels of hardship, that in their 3 years, if you see the reckless borrowing they have undertaken, look, divide from Osajifu Dr. Kwame Nkrumah to President Mahama, you are talking about 60 years. So if you divide even the debt on a yearly basis, 120 billion, you get 2 alike. MPP, 110 plus that they borrowed under their watch from the debt that they took over from President Mahama. If you divide it, you are getting about 38, closer to 40 billion a year. Look at the difference from 3 to almost 38 or so. And look at the levels of development from the time of Osajifu Dr. Kwame Nkrumah to President Mahama. In fact, nobody can run away from the fact that under President Mahama there was an aggressive pursuit of infrastructure. Under their watch, President Akufo-Addo promised while in position that there will be 350 senior high schools. One, single one, Penge, Zaire, Dakar, they have not built. One, single one. One hospital, ever since they came to power, they have not built one hospital. And we challenge them, they have built a hospital. They should show us in which region and in which town that hospital is situated. Okay? They are struggling with roads. Even notwithstanding the fact that you have the road minister going everywhere trying, they have proclaimed a year ago, the road minister is going around trying to build road. Even their own policies defeat that intent. Under their capping policy, they have capped 3.5 billion from the road fund. They've beheaded that level of resources from the road fund and incapacitated the Ministry of Roads and Highways from having access to that money to do that work. Okay? So, Sena, it is abundantly clear that with this hopelessly uninspiring performance of the Nana Akufo-Addo government, their recourse is to steal the verdict of the people, is to tamper with the verdict of the December 7th, 2020. And so they did not hide that misadventure that they wanted to do by first removing the previous electoral commissioner, Madam Charlotte Osei. Because all the claims they had made about the electoral commission and Charlotte Osei out to rig the elections in favor of President Mahama, in the end it was President Nana Akufo-Addo who was proclaimed the victor. So you should have put pay to all those allegations that they made. But they had a bigger agenda ahead, in which they wanted to massage the electoral figures. And so that is why they went and brought their hirelings, their surrogates, including the Tescon patron of Lagos. The Tescon patron of Lagos. I'm sure you know Tescon is their tertiary educational distance akin to that of the NDC thing. Bossman. Never in the annals of our country's history have we had a desecration of the electoral commission like it's happening under Nana Akufo-Addo, where political partisan elements, party activists are now catapulted to the helm of affairs at the electoral commission to go and do their partisan bidding. So the lies of the MPP has infected the electoral commission. That's why I told you that to accuse the MPP of lying is like accusing a dog of barking. It's their stock in trade. They do it every day. And so on platforms when you see them lying, don't be surprised. It's in their DNA. Okay? And so the electoral commission's thing is to come, as it were, to do this agenda. And added it is the possibility of making money. You saw that in the budget that they presented. 28 million Ghana cedis was for per diem for EC officials. 28 million Ghana cedis, Sana. The Minister for Health appeared before Parliament. I think that was Wednesday or Thursday. Okay? And he was asked about the preparedness for this coronavirus. And he said that they had made available only, in fact, he said that allocation of 2.9 million, that's not even disbursement. There's a whole world of difference between even what is allocated and what is actually disbursed. As we speak now, go and look at the frontline staff who are supposed to fight this coronavirus. Look at the gear they have. I can tell you that if they indicate that some people with coronavirus are coming, they will all flee because they don't have the requisite level of equipment to stand in the front line and fight the disease. They don't. Okay? And as Community Kwesi pointed out, 15 countries were cited as those who were least prepared. And Ghana was among them. Ghana were cited among them. Yet you can make available 28 million Ghana cedis as per diem for a needless voters register. Absolutely needless voters register. Okay? And as have been pointed out by civil society organizations and others, they are padding the figures. And now resorting to outright lies. Like saying, for instance, that the biometric equipment, the BVDs that we have used. And Sena, take note. In the last assembly elections, when did we hold the last assembly elections? Was it not in December?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay? Just about some 2 months ago, in which we recorded, by the Electoral Commission's own estimates, over 90% success rate. And the same DVD machines that are in a hurry to discredit performed 99.4%. 99.4%, just a 0.6% variance. And so in order to justify their discredited claims, they have gone and said that those equipment have become obsolete and that they got it from the manufacturers. When the manufacturers were contacted, they said they have not even had any discussion with them on that matter. Can you see the extent to which these people can lie? They don't fear God. You see, Sena, when somebody fears God, he knows that there's tomorrow. He will stand before his maker and account. But for people who don't fear God, they have no boundary where they will not lie. They can tell all manner of lies to justify their material claims on this earth. But like I've said, tomorrow is waiting for them. No matter how long they think they'll live on this earth, they will face their maker. And these lies that they are, conspicuous lies they are telling to Ghanaians, they will answer for them. But Sena, before even there, the people's verdict is awaiting them. I can say without any iota of hesitation that they are trying to massage the numbers. In fact, if you read the U.S. intelligence report, where they indicated that part of the reasons why they are trying to do the voters register is to do voter suppression in opposition strongholds and pad up the numbers in areas that they think they have numbers. That is why they think they want to do this voters register. But Sena, the Gombers have a saying that the bird flies in the air, but its finale is performed on the ground. No force on the face of this earth can subvert the true will of the people. And I can tell you that they can sit down and calculate how they are going to steal the elections. By the grace of Allah Almighty, they will have a shock in their lives. That the kinds of calculations they are doing to subvert the will of the good people of the country will not happen. Ghanaians will resist them like never before. And I can tell you that, inshallah, 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 when the December 7 elections come to take place, Nana Akufo-Addo will be uprooted like cassava. Look, there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that Ghanaians have made their minds about this government, about the hopelessly uninspiring nature of this government and its inability to deliver. And if you look on the ground, Sena, I have been challenging the challenge Saka and Co. to adopt the slogan. President Kufuor adopted the slogan. They say they have achieved economic prosperity. The Ghanaians' lives are so good. Ghanaians are so happy with the economy. Our pockets are full of money. Why don't they adopt the slogan? Look at your situation and vote, because our situation is so good. Why I don't know they're not alluding to that slogan and asking Ghanaians that leave everything, look at your situation and vote for us, and they will see what Ghanaians will do with them, because it's clear, Sena, that everywhere you go, in spite of the macroeconomic statistics, and I've always said it, anytime MPP throws statistics at you, don't be in a hurry to embrace those figures. A lot of them are voodoo figures. Their figures a lot of the times are not credible, including figures the president himself has touted, figures he is fed with, and figures that he gives. A lot of them are fake. So you need to interrogate these figures carefully from the Army Wells figures of employment figures they give. You saw the Agri Minister saying that planting for food and jobs had created 745,000 jobs. Even amongst that, they couldn't even come to terms. Another figure that the president gave in the State of the Nation address was 200,000 jobs. So you can see that they are struggling with even the credibility of their own figures. Where even the minister went and said 7,500 billion are jobs they created in the State of the Nation address, the finance minister. When even the population of China, even, which is the most populous country in the world, could not even near the figure that the finance minister gave. So you can see the level of contradiction and lack of credibility deficit in their figures.
Okay, Alhaji.
So, Sena, you just ask yourself, it's only in Ghana where when they tell you that the economy is doing fine, the lives of the people are worse. Okay. When the economy is doing well, it should reflect in a qualitatively higher standard of living for the people.
Okay.
Okay?
Alhaji.
Because, Sena, the sweetness of the pudding is not the aroma. It's in the eating.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Alhaji. And let me just read two messages and come to Saka. This one says, Sena, kindly ask Saka Salia this question on my behalf. What did the NLC replace the PDA with? And was it any different from the PDA? Please, if you don't know, don't answer. Let those who know answer. And then Dr. Percy says, the PDA exists today. It's a Sena fact. The PDA exists today in our laws in the shape of the Anti-Terrorism Act, Act 762, passed by John Ajekum Kufuor and the MPP under U.S. pressure in 2008. In any case, one of the first acts of the NLC after the 1966 coup was to issue the Protective Custody Decree, almost identical to the PDA. Saka.
Yeah, thank you very much. Before I go to the register.
All in 10 minutes.
Yeah, all in 10 minutes. My brother Kosi was talking about the fact that to him, Obichabi Lamti is a terrorist, and that why should the terrorist be a founder and all that.
Not to him. He says it refers to a court decision, a decision of a court.
Yeah, so I will explain to you. I will explain
decision of a court.
I will explain to you. I will explain to you that. You see, you even remember the bombings that happened. And you remember that even Kwame Nkrumah himself instituted the Kunubu bombing, instituted a probe into the matter. And it was found out that the people behind even the bombing were all CPP members.
Hey, Saka.
You wait. What do you mean? Yes.
Who has been telling you this thing?
I'm coming. I mean, dude, where you read, I also read from there.
Let him land.
So my somebody tell me, can't I read?
All of them were
No.
You let me explain.
Let him continue.
Let me explain.
At the source.
Oh, let me explain.
Let him continue.
Let me explain. They were. He instituted a probe. He set a committee, and they were the committee found out that they were CP members. Indeed, he tried them. Kofi Prague,
You say
Crab. Kofi Crab and those people. All of them, they were CPP members. And they were found guilty. They were not found guilty. And Kwame Nkrumah even had to sack the judges. And that explains some of the reasons why people have been saying that he's a dictator and all that. So that is number one. Number two, if you are talking about the fact that because a court has sentenced somebody, then that person can be declared the way you want it. Kwame Nkrumah himself, the British then described him as a terrorist.
Where?
And that was the reason why the Big Six were arrested.
Where?
Please.
A court at the time.
I am saying that the Big Six were arrested because they believed that they were destabilizing the country.
They were arrested.
Please. And people who are terrorizing people, are they not terrorists? It depends on how you describe them. Please don't be laughing. You see, I can even laugh when you have viewed your submission, but I'm telling you facts. You cannot disagree with me that the British incarcerated, even in 1951 when Nkrumah was in prison, he was in prison when he won the elections. Am I lying? And why was he in prison? So if somebody today says that Nkrumah is not cannot be a founder of Ghana because he is a convict. Why would we say? And besides that, if you are talking about people, if you are talking about people writing to, the Queen of England, then they were ruling us. Listen. They were ruling us. It's just like somebody writing to the Flag Tower House and doing complaint. But I'm not by this saying that what you are saying is the truth. But look at today. The NDC that you belong, you are even part of those people. Today you wrote a letter to the IMF against Kenneth Ofurata. The same people, you wrote a letter to the IMF about the Sena hydro project, a project that you in your constituency, an interchange is going to be built through that project.
Which interchange?
Don't you know that there's an interchange in your constituency? Don't you know that we are building interchange? I am saying.
There's nothing going on.
So I am saying that. Don't you know that we are building interchange?
There's no interchange.
In your constituency.
I am saying there's no interchange.
But are you aware we are building interchange?
We are not building any interchange.
What are we building?
Of some area and put them. So there's nothing going on.
The same people wrote to the IMF, and we say that no. The Sena hydro money should be declared as a debt, and they don't understand. The IMF threw their petition on their face and told them that they can also read. They should go and check in their books whether it is a loan or not. So you people cannot come and sit here and try to redirect national sentiment against the government. Let me go to the register. I mean, I think that because the last time I was here, I was saying the same thing. I think that as members of the opposition, especially the NDC, they should be a little bit serious in this country. If they don't want to be serious, but they should be constitutional. At least we all know that it's a fact, and nobody can deny that the Electoral Commission has the mandate to do whatever they are doing today. The Constitution provides that, Article 45, 46. They gave them the mandate to compile, even Article 541, to compile the register as and when it is necessary. The Electoral Commission have decided that upon their technical advice from their technical experts, decided that this election will have to come out with a new register. Indeed, we as NPP, it has always been our position that we needed a new register. We started trumpeting this point since 2015, to the extent that we were doing demonstrations, and then the NDC had to use the police against us. Some people died, some people maimed, and all that through that. Today, if the Electoral Commission that has a mandate. As a matter of record, he must provide. Justice. Justice. Who is called Justice? You don't know him. Justice what? You don't know him. I've forgotten of the other name, but Justice. There's no Justice. You are Justice. So there's what? Justice. You don't know Justice. What is Justice? You don't know him. No. Okay. So Justice died through that, and other people were maimed and all that. But I'm saying that currently, as it is, the Electoral Commission have reason for us to change this new register. The NDC, who formed the minority in terms of people who are clamoring for new register against those who don't want the new register, you are the minority. The minority cannot ride roughshod over the majority. Democracy doesn't allow that. Indeed, if you go to even IPAC, the preponderance of political parties that accept the fact that we need a new register, they are more than the NDC group of friends who are clamoring for register. Meanwhile, these same people now, when they are talking, they say, the Ghanaians doesn't want new register. I am saying that one of the reasons the Electoral Commission gave us, and I don't have any reason to disbelieve them, is that the manufacturers have said, and I quote, they said that they will be taking a needless risk if they did not take time or take steps to replace the current BVRs.
Which manufacturers?
The manufacturers of the BVRs.
BVRs.
Gen K.
Because
I am saying
BVRs and those they're seeking to buy from which manufacturers?
Which manufacturers?
Yes, which manufacturers?
The HMBs.
HSB.
HSB company.
Yeah, they didn't manufacture the old
No, I'm saying that they are saying that if they do, because there was a report. And now in 2018, these same people, led by their chief executive, Marcel Bogat, in May 2018, said that the current BVRs have outlived its usefulness. It has reached its end of life. So if somebody takes or send email and it also gets new or different results, then we as a nation, or we as people, will have to reconcile the two. But I stand to believe the Electoral Commission more than any other individual from the NDC who decides that, or who come to tell us that they have written an email and then the email reply says that it is not true. And there is no way, even the email reply that we have seen, that it is cited that the manufacturers are saying that, oh, they have not had any talk with anybody, as is being alluded to by Alhaji Hussein, that the manufacturers are saying. Can you show the email conversation that says that the manufacturer says that they have not had any discussion with the Ghana Electoral Commission or anybody? But you sit here and say that is what the emails say. So I think that when we come and sit here and we think that whatever that we say is sacrosanct, and then you can blindfold Ghanaians and hoodwink them into voting for them, it will not happen. You cannot direct national sentiment against the Electoral Commission or the New Patriotic Party. The Electoral Commission have decided, whether it is for in your interest or not, that is the decision of the Electoral Commission. Go and organize yourselves. Go and organize yourselves. Get your people to go and register. Or at where you can even go to the law court. When we were against, the current register, the current discredited register, we sponsored our members to go to court. And indeed, in all the cases that we took to court, we won. But I can understand the NDC, people who are not, averse to change. Anything that will improve upon our electoral process, the NDC will never allow it to come, even when they are in power. The current biometric register that we are talking about, the NDC was in power then, but they fought hard to resist it. To the extent that Ashedi Nketia was telling Ghanaians that the NPP want us to bring a machine where they can put their hands and then the people will get cancer. You remember even the transparency box and all those things. All those were through the instrumentality of the NPP. Anything that will improve upon our electoral process, the NDC will always oppose to it. Now we are saying that facial recognition will be part of this, and it is significant. Because when you were talking about even the current, the last election, this assembly election that we did, you did not even say that it was 100% success. Okay. And even if it is 99%, in 2008, Nanado needed just 21,000 to win the election. 21,000. And this 21,000, do you know the number of people? 29,000. Nanado needed 21,000 to win the first round, to win the elections. But we could not get, because if you are saying that 99% is significant, 99% is about 100,000. So 100,000 means that some people will use manually their own discretion to allow people to vote, and in the end it can sway the election to one particular direction. Okay. But the Electoral Commission is saying that we want to avoid human interface. We want everything to be done biometrically, and for that matter, even if it's 99 point whatever percent, the facial recognition will be an added on. It will add to the credibility of the election. The NDC says no. Today they will go for argument of cost. Tomorrow they will go for procurement. Tomorrow next they will go for time. And they are even saying that Muslims, that it will fall on Ramadan. I mean, what bizarre thinking.
Okay.
Is it not okay, sir. Let me tell you, even if it falls on Ramadan, what is wrong with that?
Okay, sir.
There is nothing, because I'm a Muslim.
Thank you.
That's how you are.
You're way past your time.
Even in Ramadan, we work.
Okay, thank you.
We are obligated as Muslims to work even in Ramadan. So what is wrong with having registration?
Some in Germany says, if indeed MPP won 2016 election fairly with the current register, what are they afraid of now? Why are they punishing EC pushing the EC to do a new register? Only God can save us in the hands of this old man with his family and friends, government, MPP, never again. Abi Bantu says, Sena, good morning to you and your panel. Sena, Ghana's independence is meaningless because today we have a tyrant leader who does not believe in freedom of speech, who oppresses his political opponents. What do we celebrate when insecurity is everywhere, when 3 square meals is a luxury? What do we celebrate when the difference between the government and its minister's lifestyle and that of the citizenry is like the sun and the earth? And I thought Nana Akufo-Addo was I'm not so sure. Okay. He said shockingly he act like a CID paid president. Ghanaians must resist oppressors' rule come December 7th. Election is a communal labor. Let's vote out Akufo-Addo and vote massively for GDM. Mr. Pratt.
Well, look, I think my presentation is a very short one. The National Democratic Congress held a press conference at which they provided emails which indicated the things attributed to the suppliers of the equipment for the biometric register by the EC were false. So all of us expected that the EC will respond, to the allegations which had been made. Then, Sena, 2 days later, I read news stories which had been planted in several newspapers saying an official of the Electoral Commission who wants to remain anonymous. If an allegation has been made, and the Electoral Commission truly knows that it is not true and is going to respond, how come that the response comes from an official of the Commission who wants to remain anonymous? Very strange things are happening in our country. Look, it is clear, as far as I'm concerned, that this country needs resources for more important things. One, our preparedness to fight the coronavirus, and other things. In terms of the president's priority, maybe the cathedral, and so on. These are resources we're going to expend on the compilation of a new voters register, which is completely unnecessary. Absolutely unnecessary. You understand? This is the register upon which we voted and brought the current administration to power. There's nothing wrong with this register. Why do you compile another one? So we are still waiting for the Electoral Commission to respond to the allegations which have been made. I don't think that we can take the response of an official who wants to remain anonymous as an authentic response from the Electoral Commission.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Pratt. That was very brief. Gives us some 10 minutes.
I was asking that the NDC actually provided evidence of emails, correspondence between and the makers of the DVD equipment. And so there was credible evidence. We in the NDC, when we provide, when we talk about it, we talk of evidence-based.
So where is it?
As the media, they gave copies of even the decision to the media. Why? I'm saying that it is in the media. If you read all the decisions, they were provided with copies.
You are saying
the media, people who attended the press conference, they were given this. You should carry all documents. If I'm coming, I should carry all documents. I just indicated that the media people were present.
Say what
this was in the
public.
I just indicated to you this was in the public domain. They have provided evidence.
We got copies.
I'm just indicating to you the media who attended the event. You can check from the press media. They provided evidence. It was not like you who concoct and peddle falsehood.
Alhaji, thank you. Well, let me read a couple of the messages you're sending to Radio Go 905 FM page. Strong Ahmedo says, you and NDC are the main problem keeping the progress of Ghana at a standstill. All you and your wicked party know is loot, steal, and share. Tell your incompetent flag bearer that Ghanaians are yearning for his policies geared towards the 2020 national elections, not the baseless and unnecessary talking. The Ladem is saying hypocrisy at its highest level. Have they forgotten some people not attending the inauguration of JDM? some not attending the Senchi conference, and some even refusing to be part of the team that drafted the 1992 Constitution. They are abusing today. They should give us a break. We are tired of the empty noise. They claim to own the country, and so why do they need anyone to join them celebrate the same independence that they claim we are not ready for? Thank you for some of those messages. Mavis Grace Asamani says, these people hate the truth. The truth pricks them like needle. Just look how Saka reacts to the truth being told by Mr. Pratt and Honorable ABA Fuseni. Thank you for that message. So we have a few minutes. I can afford 2 minutes each on the last two issues that happened in Parliament. The first one has to do with the law that was passed that essentially bans used cars that are above 10 years. And the second one has to do with the much discussed issue of the tax exemption 23.98 given for the construction of a Alhaji hotel at the airport area. Let me once again start with Alhaji. 2 minutes, please.
We are combining the cars issue with the tax waiver.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. 2 minutes. So you have to be very brief.
Master, this one.
You can choose one you want to talk about.
Because look, in terms of job losses, if we are talking about job losses, independent surveys have indicated that under the watch of this government, if you take from the collapse of the banks, the microfinance institutions, small loans, manufacturing, import substitution, even in the media, jobs that have been lost come to a conservative estimate of 2.5 million jobs lost under the MPP. You see, sometimes you are in a hurry to tout, and that's why I've been saying that anytime they throw figures out, you should interrogate the figures with a greater degree of circumspection. They come and say, NAPCO, they created 100,000 jobs. And then when the NAPCO boss is asked, he said, oh, even their current figures are hovering around 70,000 because some have left. So, Sena, to get the number of jobs we've created, it's a sum of the jobs you have lost versus what you have created to give you a net. They don't refer to the jobs they have lost under their watch. And so they claim they have created jobs. And all their actions indicate that more jobs are being lost on a daily basis because of the bankrupt nature of the policies they pursue. Look, these cars that you are talking about, yes, you may have some environmental concerns, but a policy has to be holistic and take into account your status. Ghana, do we manufacture cars? And so it is important in taking some of these decisions. Yes, the issue of overage vehicles have been there, those over 10 years and above. But in taking those decisions, we should we should take into account the nature of our economy and our ability to bring in new cars that will be able to meet the market for even the ordinary people of this country. Sena, how many Ghanaians, especially under the hopelessly uninspiring government of Nana Akufo-Addo now, can even have money to buy new cars? As we speak now, how many Ghanaians can purchase new cars? And look at the cost to Ghanaians. So, Sena, let me go on to this issue of the tax waiver. Sena, this matter was brought on the floor of Parliament. And we're asking that, where is the value for money audit of this waiver? This hotel Pullman and this company was going to deal with. There was no true assessment to indicate that even that hostel, if it is built, will be profitable. Because if you go to the airport and claim there are many hotels even there. Sometimes their bed capacities that they can't meet. And you're going to put, look, if you calculate at a conservative exchange rate of I think 5.5, okay, you are going to get 134 million Ghana cedis. 134 million Ghana cedis free waiver. In addition to other resources that is coming from the Ghana Infrastructure Fund. Okay? All these are going to be put in a hotel. And we have been saying that this government has no shame when it comes to looting state resources for the benefit of their own people. Okay. How can you, in terms of even good governance, and I mentioned to you, Sena, I mentioned earlier that you have data bank engaging directly in transactions of government, in matters requiring this is from the Eurobonds.
Alhaji,
And the same enterprise. And now you are giving 134 million free of charge to your in-law.
Saka,
at the time when
Alhaji, thank you.
Thank
you. I've run out of time.
To get money to fight coronavirus. You can only give 2.9 million.
Saka, come
Have you seen the nature of the government?
Saka, please, Alhaji.
Have you seen the nature? I'm landing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have you seen the nature of it? They don't care about Ghanaians.
Okay.
When Ghanaians need money to fight coronavirus, they can only get coronavirus.
Thank you, Alhaji.
COVID-19. So when they want money, you can only give 2.9 million. When they want tax waivers, 134 million to your in-laws.
Come in, Saka.
First of all, I don't think there's no truth in the fact that this money is coming from the infrastructure fund.
Sena, I can give you a copy of this.
This
is from Parliament.
Oh, please.
Don't say what you are doing. If you are uninformed,
please,
don't say that.
Please. I'm saying that there is no evidence to prove so. But secondly, I don't think that anything untoward has happened here. That there's a waiver for a company, and which is lawful. If you go to our laws, nobody can say that we don't give waivers to companies. And indeed, what is supposed to be done is that it has to go through parliamentary approval. It is only when somebody whimsically decides to waive without, parliamentary approval, that is where anybody can bring issue. But here is the case, that the matter has gone through Parliament, and Parliament, using its own rules, decides that they will give waivers. So I don't even see why this should be a topical issue. But you see, the NDC, they are a bundle of contradiction. Today, we are talking about an issue that you are saying that the company doesn't have the right to be given waiver. In your time, in the NDC time, President John Dramani Mahama decided to violate all the laws of this country by giving waivers to companies without passing through Parliament. That one, you were nowhere to be found, and up to now that the truth has been brought to you, you still will not condemn it.
If that were true,
I'm coming.
What have you done?
I'm coming. Are you not aware of that?
What have you done?
That on the 25th of April 2015, John Dramani Mahama gave waiver to companies like Gassim, Dream Reality, Garden City Mall, ShopRite, Ghana Limited, Cement Delay Africa.
Can I answer you?
Vinklin Sugar Refinery.
Can I answer you?
Jata Cement, that belongs to the brother.
I don't want you to.
Jata Cement, whose company belongs to the brother, EcoBank and Dream Reality. And he went on to say that, the 15-year tax rebate to which company is that? Garden City. That one, he is not approving it. I said he has the powers to approve it. And this one did not go through Parliament. Now a government has come, knowing the law and mindful of not usurping the law, decided that these are companies that have qualified in every respect. They have taken their names to Parliament for approval. So if Parliament, in their wisdom, decides that these companies are not worth the approval, so be it. But if they think that the companies are worthy of the approval, but in your time, the president started in his own office, gave approval, did not pass it through Parliament, and those waivers were given.
Thank you.
The last one. Thank you.
It's exactly known.
You talk about job losses because automobile manufacturers are coming in.
Thank you. Mr. Pratt, please come in for me.
Read this. Please. I think it's obvious that Saka doesn't understand what he's talking about. So if you look at the investment laws of Ghana, it says that any company which is able to bring in $30 million qualifies as a strategic investor. And by qualification as a strategic investor, they're entitled to some tax waivers. Sena, are you listening? Now, in the case of this hotel, for me, the problem is not that the guy is related to the head of state and so on. Those are not the issues. For me, the fundamental problem is that the money for the investment is coming from Ghana. It's coming from the Ghana Infrastructure Development Fund. So this investor has not brought in $30 million to qualify as a strategic investor. You understand? The other issue for me has to do with the law. I think that the law is defective. Is a hotel a strategic investment? Is a hotel a strategic investment? But if you go by way of the law defines a strategic investor as anybody bringing in $30 million. So if you bring in $30 million and you start doing ice kinky, you become a strategic investor. I can understand why a cement factory in Ghana will qualify as a strategic investment. You understand? Not a hotel, given the fact that many of the hotels already have occupancy rate problems and so on. You understand? So that's how we look at that. Now, with regards to the other topic, we are saying that we are going to ban the importation of 10-year-old vehicles. That decision is scientifically flawed. The performance of machines, like vehicles and so on, is not determined by age. You can find a car which is 10 years old, but may have done only 5,000 kilometers. And you can find a car which is 2 years old, which may have done 20,000 kilometers and so on. Understand? So age cannot be a sufficient criteria for determining, the performance of vehicles and so on. So that is flawed to start with. Now we are saying that these so-called vehicle assembly plants which are going to be established, including PW and so on, now they can bring in fully assembled vehicles. They were giving them the license to establish assembly plants, but they can bring in already assembled vehicles from outside. We are saying that for those second-hand dealers, car second-hand dealers and so on, we are going to increase the tax level to 35%. In fact, Mr. Kojo Nkrumah, Minister of Information, when he explained, said that it would affect only 17% of car importers. So we are going to kill the business of 17% of local car importers in order to promote the interests of these giant multinational corporations. It doesn't make sense to me. There's so little time that we cannot discuss this in detail. But this is going to collapse people's businesses. It's going to promote the monopoly of large car companies and so on. It doesn't make sense. In any case, I'm wondering why we are still promoting car assembly plants and so on. We can go for the Iranian model, or we can go for the Chinese model and so on. I do hope that we'll get sufficient time next time to discuss this matter.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Pratt. And that takes us way past our time, so we should be ending the show for today. But just some quick things to say. First of all, the book that Mr. Pratt referred to, Kwame Nkrumah and the Dawn of the Cold War, the West African National Secretariat 1945 to 1948, authored by Marika Sherwood, like Mr. Pratt said, Institute of African Studies at the University of Ghana, Legon. So you can get a copy there. It deals with Kwame Nkrumah's life before he came to the Gold Coast, what he was engaged in. And also, very importantly...
the judgment of the president's father, who described Obeche Bilamte as a terrorist and convicted him. You see, a lot of people think that Obeche Bilamte was imprisoned by Nkrumah under the Preventive Detention Act. It's not true. Obeche Bilamte was jailed by President Akufo-Addo's father.
Well, thank you. So that's something you can get at the Freedom Bookshop. But this week, one of the biggest stories in the media this week has been the murder of the assemblyman in Sugakope. Now, today, a candlelight procession is being held in his honor, a vigil in Sugakope. Today, at exactly 6:30 p.m., and they are starting from a Y junction around Star Oil at Sugakope. So that is very important. And we also understand that some progress is being made in connection with finding those behind that heinous act. And also, we'd like to say a happy belated birthday to the former First Lady, Lordina Mahama, and of course a happy birthday to Peter T. and Francis Deku. A big thank you to my panel for today, Mr. Kwesi Prajina, Managing Editor of the Inside newspaper, Saka Salia, who is a member of the MPP's communication team, and also to Alhaji, ABA Fuseni, who is Member of Parliament for Sanyarugu. A big thank you to them. A big thank you to you for sending your messages. We are back same time next week. We're live on Pan-African television, several affiliates across the country, and of course on Ahunto 92.3 FM. My name is Sena Nombo. Have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful week.
A champion of liberty, of human equality. Let's salute him.